The male lead just sat down, adjusted his breathing, and absorbed spiritual energy like everyone else. But that simple scene shocked even the Grand Master at the top. Normal disciples meditate hard for 2.5 years, and at best, they hold energy breathing for 30 seconds. Meanwhile, on his first try, he pushed past 5 whole minutes. The way to circulate ki, something others grind for years, he basically mastered instantly. But the real goosebump moment came during his first combat circulation. One strike and the high-level demon beast got blown away on the spot. Yeah, that was insane. Hard to believe that just a month ago he was labeled a total trash character. One gym session, logged out of his old world, and boom, thrown into this brutal place. Luckily, he awakened a support system. From then on, every bit of training gave him permanent growth buffs. Sometimes he just had to show up at school, and the senior and junior girls were already losing their minds. At times, the system boosted his appearance stats. Other times, it upgraded his accuracy to dart level, never missing a shot. It even unlocked a divinity-level observation ability. And a tennis ball shot straight at him, but with his current reflexes, Xijing casually caught it. One glance toward where it came from, and he knew someone was picking a fight. Right then, his close bro Li Qi rushed over. The moment he saw who was standing in the distance, his face turned pale. It was Pei Xiaoguang, the school tyrant famous for bullying students. And the reason, simple. The girl he liked was paying attention to Xijing. Li Qi panicked, told him to avoid trouble, even suggested getting a random girlfriend, but Xijing brushed it off and went back to the gym. For others, the gym builds health. For him, it's the fastest path to power. Since transmigrating, whenever a skill hit a certain threshold, the system unlocked a matching special ability. Of course, more power meant a crazy price. He was always starving beyond reason. Some days he opened the fridge and found it completely empty, forcing him to go buy more food. But Xijing never trained like crazy just to show off. He knew he lived in the 5th urban ring, shiny inside, rotten and poor on the edges. Graduation was 6 months away. Without strength, he'd be stuck at the bottom forever. On his way back, a black cat suddenly dashed out of an alley. Its body was covered in wounds, clearly fresh from a brutal fight. As Xijing stepped closer, the cat fainted, but what shocked him more was that it had just spoken like a human. Looking carefully, he noticed a golden ring tied around its tail. The moment he touched it, the system popped up, item contains divinity. That's when the old stories clicked. 287 years ago, the world's god died before all humanity. Since then, people kept saying when gods fall, humans must rise. And Xijing didn't just want to survive, he wanted to become the new god of this world. He brought the black cat home and placed a bowl of food in front of it. The cat looked at it with pure disdain, not even interested. Add in the fact it could speak, and Xijing was sure this was no normal cat. So he walked into the kitchen and started cooking himself. His movements were smooth and his cooking skill kept improving. Even his chef attribute was leveling up quietly without him noticing. Soon a hot, insanely fragrant dish was ready. One whiff and the black cat dropped all arrogance, nearly drooling as it devoured the food like it hadn't eaten in years. Watching that, Xijing grew even more certain this might be a human turned into a cat, and the golden ring on its tail was probably the key. Just as he was thinking, the system announced absorption complete and offered a skill called Twin Birth. Xijing didn't hesitate for a second and accepted. In an instant, the skill activated successfully. At the same time, a drop of strange liquid formed in his palm. This was a passive skill so broken it felt illegal. It gave him 2 lives, letting him revive anytime within 7 days after death, but the cooldown was 3 full months. But the hype didn't last long, because the skill wasn't fully unlocked and needed 500 divinity points to activate, which meant the only path now was absorbing more divinity, and the closest source was the golden ring on that cat. Still, looking at its injured body, absorbing it now felt way too cruel, even for him. After thinking it through, Xijing decided to leave the divinity alone for now. Before heading out, he turned on the house cameras, just in case, and to see what that weird cat would do alone. The moment the door shut, the cat's obedient look vanished, replaced by a cold, unreadable gaze. In this world, climbing from the outer ring into the inner city was basically a fantasy. Even if you made it in, the insane living cost would crush any poor outsider, yet people still rushed in blindly, because they didn't know there was another path: becoming a martial artist. While lost in thought, Xijing turned into an alley, and got blocked by a bald thug picking a fight over some girl giving him water that morning. The guy hadn't even finished talking when his body suddenly froze. 1 second later he dropped, and before the others understood what happened, they all collapsed in under 3 seconds. The scary part, Xijing's weapon was just a few roadside pebbles. But with his power and near-perfect accuracy, those stones became lethal. As the lackeys fell, the boss finally stepped out, none other than Pei Xiaoguang. A faint wolf shadow appeared behind him with heavy pressure, but to Xijing, it was just flashy intimidation. He tilted slightly and dodged the incoming strike with ease. Pei Xiaoguang's punch missed and smashed into the wall, leaving a deep dent. Now Xijing confirmed it, the guy had stepped into martial arts, no wonder he was so cocky. Then it hit him, he still had no clues about divinity, and maybe the guy in front of him was a starting point, so he walked forward without a word, leaving Pei Xiaoguang stunned as his prey closed in. And just like that, the friendly 5-punch exchange began. You already know how that ended. After a few clashes, Pei Xiaoguang was wobbling, legs shaking, begging for mercy. Turns out the opponent he thought had some skill was just spamming the same move. His targeting skill boosted more than eyesight, it let every strike hit with extreme precision, breaking the opponent's force by striking the chest gap without even trading punches head in. And this fight awakened a new skill combat technique. A few more exchanges later, Pei Xiaoguang was flat on the ground, completely defeated. Xijing walked up and directly asked what that power earlier really was. Trembling, Pei Xiaoguang explained it wasn't a martial skill but inner force, energy gathered in the meridians and released through techniques. When asked where he learned it, the guy stuttered hard and finally admitted he was just small fry. Hearing that, Shi Jing grabbed his collar and lifted him up, eyes turning cold. A bully that arrogant, now calling himself useless. Yeah, something was off, and under pressure, Pei Xiaoguang confessed his whole tough image was fake. After the confession, he got a hard slap and was forced to submit 10 self-criticisms tomorrow. Bro really lost everything. Not stopping there, Shi Jing forced him to spill the dojo address too, deciding to check it out himself. This fight gave Shi Jing way more gains than expected, his physical stats rising noticeably. Normally he'd grind the gym for hours for tiny progress, but this one fight surpassed that, and unlocking a new skill made him think maybe more clashes weren't a bad idea. Using the address, Shi Jing quickly found the Jinfeng dojo. The moment he stepped in, the receptionist signaled for silence since the master was teaching. Inside, students sat cross-legged while a white-haired old man explained a breathing method, guiding inner force through breath to truly step into martial arts. Hearing that, Shi Jing's eyes changed, because this was exactly what had been missing. He asked the receptionist if he could try, and once she saw his face, she blushed and nodded, telling him not to push himself. With permission granted, Shi Jing sat down and followed the instructions. As the old man told everyone to sync their breathing, the students focused hard, while the receptionist silently prayed someone would last longer this time. But in less than 30 seconds, most students were already gasping. Even the top prospect only made it to 35 seconds before collapsing. Just as the receptionist was about to explain, the old man slowly walked over, eyes locking onto the only one still breathing, Shi Jing. Shi Jing now realized the breathing method looked simple but was brutal, massive oxygen pressure flooding the lungs, and without strong physical foundations, no one could endure it. Thanks to his enhanced stats, he held on, and over time, a stream of hot Q formed inside him, growing stronger like it was about to break a limit. The moment he hit the threshold, the system notified him that he had unlocked inner force. Shi Jing stopped and opened his eyes, and instantly the old man appeared before him asking about his condition, with the receptionist rushing over. His answer stunned them both, because he felt no discomfort at all, only extreme refreshment. The girl nearly lost her composure, grabbed his hand, asked his name, and eagerly invited him to join, but suddenly a red flash lit up outside. Before anyone understood, the glass doors shattered and a dark figure rushed in. When they saw it clearly, everyone went pale. It was an insect-type monster. Chaos erupted inside, but the old man quickly calmed everyone and organized a retreat. The monster seemed to sense that intention, and instantly locked onto the nearest target, which happened to be the unlucky receptionist. In that split second, Shi Jing reacted fast and pulled her aside, narrowly dodging the charge. Her heart pounded wildly, even lingering in his arms for a second, and that heroic move gave Shi Jing a clean 20-point charm boost. Facing the monster, he recalled what Pei Xiaoguang said about inner force, gathering power in the meridians and releasing it outward. And clearly this was the perfect test. The beast suddenly leapt into the air in a frenzy. But Shi Jing threw a punch almost on instinct. The terrifying force froze the monster midair. A thought flashed through his mind. Maybe this thing was like a flea, able to withstand force many times its body weight. If so, the only answer was compressing all power into a single point. Right then, the system announced the activation of Inch Force, a short-range explosive skill, progress 80 out of 200. The next punch blasted the monster away, its body dragging across the ground and cracking apart. Shi Jing brushed dust off his hand and calmly said it was weaker than he expected. The girl stared in pure awe, but the old man frowned, because forcing such explosive power right after awakening Q would eventually damage his body. The beast still wasn't down, digging its legs into the ground with a chilling screech, ready to charge again. Shi Jing smirked and taunted it, asking if it wanted more, even curling his finger like come on, same result every time. But suddenly, the space around them distorted, and an invisible pressure descended like power from the heavens. Before Shi Jing understood, he coughed up blood, his whole body shaking violently. That's when he realized he really had pushed himself too far. The monster seized the moment and lunged, killing intent crashing down like a wave. At the most critical second, a streak of light tore through the air. It fell like heavenly thunder and instantly crushed the beast. Everything happened so fast that Shi Jing just stood there, stunned. A girl stepped out from behind and raised her hand, identifying herself as from the White Fang unit, captain of Team 838. She declared the scene under control and ordered all civilians to evacuate. Shi Jing quietly studied her, confused about what White Fang even was, because one strike killing that monster meant they were basically human weapons. Across from him, Xu Ren was also observing Shi Jing, surprised that a 17-year-old could injure a monster barehanded. He was too outstanding, so outstanding that she immediately considered recruiting him. Without wasting time, she handed him a business card and calmly said Sunday at 5 p.m., come to the address, and I'll answer everything you want to know. Then she turned and left, leaving Shi Jing standing there full of questions. The card had only one line, 7th floor, Qingcheng Library. Outside, Ling Ling rushed over, still shaken, asking if he was hurt anywhere. She even insisted on taking him to the hospital, but Shi Jing waved it off, thanked her, and left. Before she could stop him, the old man sighed, saying this kid doesn't belong here. With that level of Q on his first try, a small dojo like ours can't hold him. On the way home, the system kept sending growth notifications from health training to hand-to-hand combat, and even Inch Force was now fully activated. As he walked, Shi Jing analyzed the move, compressing all inner force into one point and exploding it at close range, enough to pierce any defense. He wanted to test it again, but sudden nausea forced him to stop. Remembering the old man's warning, he realized he could abuse inner force yet and headed home to rest. Night fell, and the street was lit only by distant dim lights. He kept thinking about White Fang and those insect monsters, realizing this world had far more secrets, and decided to wait until Sunday. But the moment he opened his door, a strange light inside made him alert. Sai Jing checked his phone footage and asked coldly, "You touched my computer earlier, didn't you?" Huang Ni instantly acted cute and innocent, but her guilty face and sweaty forehead gave her away. Sai Jing sighed, too tired to argue, told her they'd settle it tomorrow, and collapsed onto the bed. The night grew quiet, but Huang Ni couldn't sleep at all. Watching him on the bed, she sensed something off and moved closer, catching the faint smell of blood. Her expression turned icy, killing intent flashing as she wondered who dared hurt her person. Without hesitation, she jumped right onto him. Shaking him awake, she demanded answers and declared herself Long cult leader Ning Fengna, promising to back him up, while Si Jing could only sigh, "Yeah, this cat really talks." But he was too exhausted to explain and just wanted sleep, though Huang Ni kept pestering him nonstop. The next morning, sunlight slowly filled the small room. Sai Jing had almost fully recovered, as if nothing had happened the night before. During breakfast, Huang Ni couldn't hold back and kept questioning him, until she confirmed he wasn't beaten by anyone, he had soloed a monster. Her expression instantly changed, because creatures like that should appear in the inner city. Sai Jing just gently patted her head and thanked her for worrying. But the moment he called her by name, she reacted hard. She refused to be called that and demanded cult leader, so he teased back with Lady Huang Ni and asked what she'd been up to. The air turned awkward immediately. Cold sweat formed as her eyes kept dodging, clearly hiding something. After a pause, she admitted the thing on her tail was called the cat-tail ring, a special divine relic, and she'd been researching it. Si Jing was shocked, so this was the divine relic people talked about. Ever since God died 286 years ago, strange golden lights appeared worldwide, believed to be divine relics. Had only heard rumors before, never expected to see one up close. Thinking about its divinity absorption, Si Jing frowned slightly. But suddenly Huang Ni blushed and shouted, "How long are you going to keep squeezing? Just because it looks soft doesn't mean you can touch it." Si Jing coughed and quickly let go, then asked if she was studying how to use it. Huang Ni shook her head gloomily, saying she didn't want to use it, she wanted to remove it. That answer made Si Jing instantly serious. Only then did Huang Ni reveal the full story. The Long cult was once the biggest gang in Qingcheng. They controlled entertainment districts and partnered with dojos to trade medicinal herbs, growing powerful and attracting envy. One day she was ambushed in her villa, forced to wear the ring, and turned into a cat. By the time she escaped, the Long cult had fallen into others' hands. To take it back, she had only one path: remove the cursed ring, return to human form, and personally wipe out the traitors. After hearing everything, Si Jing asked what she'd do next if even the internet and libraries had no answers. Crossing her arms confidently, she said she'd already planned it. The key was making Si Jing strong fast. That left him stunned for a few seconds, not seeing how her ring related to his strength. Huang Ni insisted that once he stood out enough, major organizations would approach him, and among them might be relic holders, which could lead to a way to remove the ring. Sai Jing quietly smiled because someone had already approached him. Huang Ni grew more excited and declared she'd take him to the strongest dojo in Qingcheng. The moment she mentioned Panglong Dojo, Si Jing recognized the name. He had once checked the tuition and info of almost every dojo in Qingcheng. Panglong was the most expensive, but what stood out wasn't the price, it was the unusually high number of negative reviews. Huang Ni scoffed, saying those complainers just couldn't endure hardship, and no real martial artist dared look down on Panglong. When Si Jing asked how to get in, she replied with one word, "challenge," and he froze, because beating them first and then asking to join sounded wild. Huang Ni laughed and explained the challenge was actually the entrance test. The dojo had strict ranks and money alone didn't guarantee entry. Without talent, 10 years of training meant nothing, and on the martial path, mindset was everything. Only those with invincible will could throw invincible punches. The challenge was the fastest way to prove you deserved that path. She told him to show up on time tomorrow, while she had personal matters to handle. Time flew, and the next morning Si Jing stood before Panglong Dojo. As soon as he entered, a disciple greeted him. But during the handshake, the grip suddenly tightened with force. Sai Jing instantly knew this was a low-key strength test, and since it's a test, he's more than happy to play along. He tightens his grip just a bit, and the other guy turns pale from pain, immediately begging to stop. The crowd bursts out laughing, saying that dude's a full-on fight addict who challenges everyone and gets folded every time. That's when Si Jing realizes just a rookie showing off. Right then, someone shouts that the old master and the core disciples have arrived. The vibe flips serious in seconds, and people start whispering that something big is about to go down. In the middle of the crowd, Si Jing suddenly spots Huang Ni standing there too. Before he can even ask her anything, a majestic voice echoes out, ordering everyone to be silent. Li Qi steps forward, eyes sharp as blades, staring straight at Si Jing and asking if he's the one here to challenge. Seeing Huang Ni subtly signaling from afar, Si Jing nods without hesitation. Li Qi's pressure crashes down on the entire arena. He says it's been years since anyone dared challenge Panlong, so is this kid really qualified? That question makes Si Jing pause, because honestly, even is not sure how strong he actually is. But then Li Qi suddenly switches topics in the weirdest way, asking about his name, hometown, even whether he has siblings. The more he listens, the more Si Jing feels something's off. Bro starts thinking, why does this feel like a blind date? Sure enough, Li Qi bursts out laughing and says it straight. Of course he needs to ask carefully when his future son-in-law shows up. Sai Jing hasn't even processed that yet before turning to Huang Ni, but she just shakes her head, equally confused. At that moment, Shan Ying steps forward, fists clenched, coldly saying if he's qualified or not, they'll find out after a fight. The tension spikes instantly. Si Jing's eyes sharpen while Shan Ying confidently declares she'll go easy on him. Si Jing just smirks and gestures back, basically saying, bring it. The crowd explodes. No one expected the senior sister to jump in herself. Some are already betting Si Jing won't be standing after this. Off to the side, Huangni looks visibly annoyed. It was supposed to be a matchmaking visit, and now it's turned into a full-on brawl. Unbelievable. The moment Shanying finishes speaking, she dashes forward, tossing out a smug line telling him to be careful. Little brother. Outside the arena, Huangni watches nervously, heart pounding, worried something might happen to Si Jing. At the same time, she quietly sets up a small magic circle, her aura rising without anyone noticing. Shanying unleashes a rapid barrage of attacks at insane speed. Most people can't even track it, but Si Jing moves like he's reading her script, dodging every step with scary precision. The instant Shanying slips up, Si Jing locks her arm and slams her straight into the ground. The fight ends so fast the audience doesn't even process it before Shanying is already on the floor, eyes spinning. Fu Guang watches with clear admiration. That level of observation and timing, it's basically his own style from back in the day. Li Qi laughs heartily, eyes full of satisfaction. Huangni really brought him a top-tier talent. Hearing that, Huangni goes from anxious to smug real quick. Si Jing straightens his clothes and calmly asks if that challenge counts. Meanwhile, the system notifications keep popping off, dual EXP skyrocketing, stats climbing, even gaining a chunk of favorability. Li Qi's expression turns serious again. Someone who's never stepped into martial arts beating Zhu Chunying, that alone screams monstrous talent. Without hesitation, he officially declares Si Jing qualified to be his personal disciple. Si Jing is still processing when his status upgrades instantly. Everything moves so fast he barely keeps up. He switches gears immediately, greeting everyone smoothly, calling them master, senior brothers and sisters like he's done it for years. Fu Guang grins and officially calls him 7th junior brother. As for Shanying, she jumps back up, clearly unconvinced. She claims she's the 6th senior sister and only lost because she underestimated him, telling him not to get cocky. Si Jing bows politely to thank her, but deep down has thinking so she used to be the youngest before he showed up. Just then, someone comes to guide him through the initiation process, even respectfully calling him young Master Shi, leaving him completely stunned. Li Qi explains that as his personal disciple, Si Jing naturally gets the matching status. From now on, his name's officially registered in the inner circle, so that title is completely normal. Si Jing awkwardly scratches his head, trying to ask for a different way to address him, but the steward somehow suggests an even weirder one. In the end, Si Jing just gives up. Call him whatever. Less headache that way. Later in the lounge, he casually says the challenge fight honestly wasn't that hard. It ended in one move. Huangni immediately shuts that down, bluntly saying he was actually the underdog the whole time. She explains that Shanying is way stronger overall, but martial arts isn't just about raw power. Mental state, information, timing, even luck can decide a fight. That's when Si Jing realizes the truth. Shanying got too careless. If she fought seriously from the start, he might not have won. Still, a win is a win. Thinking about it, he quietly reminds himself that this one was partly luck. If he wants to go further, hard training is the only option left. Suddenly remembering last night, he asks where Huangni disappeared to. She casually says she stayed at the dojo to talk with Li Qi. Her next answer leaves Si Jing speechless. Apparently she and the old man have a whole messy history together. Yeah, definitely not simple. Right then, someone brings over his identity pass, calling him by yet another title and explaining he can freely enter and leave by scanning the card. The system also pops up more charm points, so Si Jing just accepts it and says thanks. The next morning, the entire dojo is buzzing after hearing he trained nonstop through the whole night. The notification board keeps exploding with numbers. EXP rises at ridiculous speed, internal force breaks through repeatedly, and favorability keeps climbing too. Absolute insanity. In the middle of it all, Li Qi's commanding shout echoes out, telling him to keep going because he's only one final step away. Si Jing grits his teeth and forces every last bit of strength into one final circulation. A second later, the system notification rings out. His internal force officially reaches level 3. He instantly drops to the floor, gasping for air, feeling like his entire body just got drained dry. Meanwhile, Li Qi looks happier than the guy who actually broke through, laughing like he just hit the jackpot. He declares that among all the disciples he's ever taken in, Si Jing has the strongest foundation by far. At this rate, he'll soon qualify to learn Panlong's cultivation art. The second he hears cultivation art, Si Jing jumps up like he was never tired, eyes glowing as he asks what level he needs to reach. Li Qi can only sigh. This dude is a full-on martial arts addict. Li Qi stretches out his hand and tells him to grab it. Si Jing obeys, but his brain is full of question marks. Don't tell him this is another test. The moment their hands touch, Li Qi's eyes turn razor sharp, veins bulging as the atmosphere instantly tightens. A massive wave of true Kai floods into Si Jing's body, the pressure so overwhelming he can barely stay standing. After a while, Li Qi finally lets go and asks how he normally trains. Si Jing honestly answers that he mostly just runs, nothing special. Hearing that, Li Qi shakes his head, saying Si Jing's body doesn't just lack flaws, it's absurdly perfect. Muscles, bones, even internal organs are balanced to ridiculous precision, like some OCD genius handcrafted the whole thing. Totally unfair. In simple terms, Si Jing is a once-in-a-generation martial arts prodigy. Hearing that, he immediately thinks of the system. It probably remodeled his body behind the scenes into this perfect form. But the thing Si Jing cares about most is still the cultivation art, so he immediately asks if he qualifies to learn it now. Li Qi helplessly shakes his head and tells him not to rush. His body is packed with hidden injuries right now. Forcing training would basically be suicide. Hearing that, Si Jing forces himself to calm down and asks what he should do next. Li Qi tells him to head back and rest first. Someone will bring medicine over later to treat his injuries. Sometime later, while sitting in his room, Si Jing hears a knock on the door and tells the person outside to come in. The door opens, and the one walking in is actually Shanying. Calm as ever, she says she's here to treat his injuries. Si Jing instantly gets suspicious. His first thought is that the 6th senior sister is still salty and came here for revenge. The moment she enters, Shanying casually tells her junior brother to take off his outer robe so she can inspect the injuries. Sijing hesitates for a second, but eventually follows along, awkwardly replying that senior sister is being too kind. She points at the chair and tells him to sit still so she can treat him properly. Right then, the system suddenly pings someone just massively increased their favorability toward him. Attraction plus 45, that's huge. Hearing that, Shanying looks even happier, her tone softening as she tells him to just lie down and behave. She starts applying medicine to Shijing's shoulder and back. Looks professional, sure, but the pressure, brutal. It hurts like crazy. He only frowns slightly, staying alert and refusing to make a sound. Seeing that cautious look, Shanying laughs and teases him not to stare at her like she's some villain. She just wants one win to vent her frustration. Sijing forces a smile. Yeah, it hurts, but complaining not an option. When he stays silent, Shanying leans in closer and insists he say something. Sijing casually replies that is fine. As long as senior sister is happy, that's what matters. That line makes Shanying pause. She exhales softly, lowers her voice, and admits she lost because she was careless, and yeah, she scared him on purpose too. The system instantly reports another favorability boost. Shanying looks slightly guilty and quietly asks if he's still mad. Sijing shakes his head. He's not holding a grudge, just a bit sore. She can keep going. Only then does Shanying truly relax. She quickly finishes the upper treatment and casually says she might as well handle the rest too. Hearing that, Shijing nearly jumps out of his skin. He reacts fast and firmly refuses, saying he can handle the rest himself and doesn't want to trouble her. Shanying covers her mouth and giggles, saying she was just joking. Look at him tense like he's facing a final boss. Humming lightly, she leaves the room while Sijing still can't fully relax. Right then, the system pops up again. Has completed another round of Pillar Skill and Hidden Dragon Art, EXP gained. Walking down the path, Sijing mutters that this senior sister is seriously dangerous. One more minute and he might stop breathing. Close call. Suddenly, his status panel appears. Congratulations, level up. Combat skill reaches level 3 and internal force climbs to level 4. Sijing is briefly surprised but quickly steadies himself. No urgent matters right now. Might as well head to the library for that meeting. The only thing is he still has no clue why they chose a place like the library. Not long after he arrives. The place is eerily quiet, almost no one around. Just as he wonders if he got the wrong spot, someone calls his name. He turns around and sees an unfamiliar girl. She introduces herself as Wu Yuqing. Sijing casually asks about her name, then gets straight to the point. Where's Shuren and why meet here? Yuqing calmly explains that Shuren only acted as a middleman to connect them. The library was chosen to avoid outside attention. At first, she had doubts about him, but after seeing him in person, she already has her answer. Without beating around the bush, she directly invites Shijing to join her organization. Is still confused when she drops another bomb. Aren't you very interested in divine relics? The moment he hears those words, Sijing's eyes change. When asked how she knows, he can only stay silent. Yuqing doesn't press further. She gently touches the bottle on the table and pours him a glass of water. Sijing doesn't hesitate. He takes it and drinks it in one go. But after swallowing, he frowns. It's just normal water. Nothing special. Yuqing says nothing, simply pours a second glass and hands it over. She tells him to try again. This time, the moment he drinks it, he freezes. The taste is completely different now. It's clearly sweet. Only then does Yuqing slowly explain that 287 years ago, when a god died, its remnants scattered across the world known as the blood of God. These fragments can parasitize anything, objects, living beings, even abstract concepts. All of them are collectively called divine relics. The bottle in front of Shijing is a perfect example. Sijing is still half skeptical and demands to check again, suspecting she secretly added sugar earlier. Unacceptable. Yuqing agrees easily. The moment Shijing touches the bottle, his system goes insane. Divinity detected, extraction initiated. In seconds, his divinity level surpasses the required threshold. At that instant, Sijing realizes something crucial. As long as he touches a divine relic, he can absorb divinity, which means the long-locked skill might finally have a chance to unlock. With pure excitement on his face, Shijing starts guessing the bottle's ability. First it turns water sweet, and maybe it can even generate endless water. Yuqing just smiles. Yep, he nailed it. According to her, divine relics already exist beyond normal logic. You can't explain them with this world's rules. Hearing that, Sijing thinks bigger. If something this absurd is real, then could the near-infinite energy inside the inner city also be tied to divine relics? Yuqing gently cuts off that train of thought, telling him not to dig too deep for now. Then she looks straight at him and explains why she approached him. An ordinary person who can take down monsters and stay calm in danger. That level of mental strength already beats most people. That's why she wants him in her company, an organization that collects divine relics. Sijing doesn't even hesitate. He agrees on the spot. An opportunity like this, you don't let that slip. Not long after leaving the library, his mind is already racing with wild fantasies about the future. Just the name Divine Relic Collection Company screams destiny. To him, it's basically a walking treasure vault. Divinity only comes from relics, and his passive skill Twin Birth is already broken. Once the active unlocks, it's going to be insane. The more he thinks about it, the more confident he gets. At this rate, who could even stop him? Seeing that look, Yuqing smiles inwardly. Yeah, this guy clearly hasn't been beaten up by reality yet. She then opens her backpack, takes out a contract, and hands it to him. She tells him to read it carefully first. If it looks fine, just sign. Sijing scans through it. Basically a normal employment contract, just with stricter confidentiality clauses. Still cautious, he directly asks if the job is dangerous. Yuqing calmly explains that divine relics are ranked A, B, C, and D based on danger level. As a newcomer, Shijing will only handle low-level tasks. Follow procedure and the risk is almost zero. Only when he's stronger will he touch the truly terrifying cases. As for class relics, those are beyond individuals or companies. Once one appears, it's handled at the national level. After hearing that, Xi Jing stays silent for a few seconds, then asks seriously why she chose him. She doesn't know about his system or martial arts training. Recruiting him based on a recommendation alone feels unreasonable. Yuking shakes her head. He misunderstood the situation. It's not that he stumbled upon divine relics. The relics actively sought him out. According to her, these things seem to have their own will and are drawn to certain special individuals. Among humans, a rare few possess unique constitutions that naturally attract divine relics. And she is one of them. Xi Jing is too. To show sincerity, Yuking even offers a salary that would make anyone's heart skip a beat. Only now does Xi Jing truly realize it's not just talent. He's ridiculously compatible with divine relics. Without another thought, he signs instantly, while pretending to say money isn't important. He's just interested in relics.
Yeah, right.
In his mind, though, has already decided to cling to this place no matter what. After officially partnering up, he leaves in high spirits, thinking about balancing martial training at Panlong Dojo and collecting relics. Just those two alone fill his schedule. School. Probably. Think it, do it. He immediately texts to request leave from school, claiming he's bedridden with illness. Then he does the math: 200 zhaos in a month. Most people couldn't make that in 10 years. Even so, money isn't what matters most to Xi Jing. What he truly needs right now is power. Only with strength can he reach bigger goals. With that thought, he opens the system interface and looks at the twin birth skill. The passive has long been activated, but the active skill is still locked. Now that the conditions are met, Xi Jing doesn't hesitate. He chooses to unlock it. A flood of information instantly appears before his eyes: memory, defense, strength, reaction speed, and action capability. Xi Jing quickly figures out the mechanic. Pick one attribute, activate twin birth, and that stat gets doubled. After thinking it through, he skips defense since his body is already tough, and strength isn't urgent either. In the end, he chooses speed. In martial arts, speed is king. No time wasted. He tests it immediately, using a lamp post about 100 meters away as a marker. First run takes a bit over 10 seconds. Not bad, but not good enough for him. He lowers his center of gravity and directly activates twin birth. In an instant, light wraps around him, and his speed explodes like a lightning bolt tearing through the wind. When he checks the result, he almost laughs out loud. Exactly double. Not just improvement, this feels like breaking the body's limit. Normal people struggle to shave off a fraction of a second. This skill just stomps all over the rules. In combat, being one beat faster decides victory, and this is absurd speed. Xi Jing immediately realizes twin birth is his true trump card, but before he can celebrate, the system dumps cold water on him. The duration is pitifully short and the cooldown is insane. Every second of activation costs thousands of seconds to recover. Drain it fully and you're waiting 6 hours. This isn't a casual toggle. It has to be timed perfectly. After a few more tests, Xi Jing's body turns to jelly. Limbs weak, energy drained. He can only drag himself home. Training and fighting all day nonstop leaves him aching everywhere, brain fried. The moment he gets back, he collapses on the floor and falls asleep instantly. When he opens his eyes again, 6 hours have passed. Looking around, he realizes he fell asleep right in the hallway. Speechless, he checks the system first thing. Thankfully, twin birth is almost fully recharged. Before he can rest more, his phone rings. Shan calls, urging him to come train. He checks the time and panics. He's late. No hesitation, he bolts out and sprints straight to Panlong Dojo. He pushes the door open so hard it slams loudly, instantly drawing every eye in the dojo. Shan Ying spots him and her eyes light up. She quickly drags him to the center. Perfect timing, she says. Let's give everyone a demonstration match. Murmurs erupt. Most believe last time she just got careless. No way, Xi Jing gets lucky twice. Xi Jing sighs inwardly. Demonstration, sure. Everyone knows she wants her face back. But this time is not the same as before. Taking his stance, his gaze sharpens. He calmly says he was just looking to test something new. Sixth senior sister, please guide me. The moment he finishes speaking, the system responds. Twin birth activated. Shan Ying wastes no time and charges forward, clearly aiming to seize initiative. But this time is completely different. Before she can even strike, Xi Jing vanishes from her sight. Her attack hits nothing but air. She doesn't even process what's happening before her wrist is firmly grabbed. A massive force yanks her, and in the next blink, she's slammed hard onto the ground. The impact leaves her dizzy. Lying there, she can't believe it. This time she went all out, stayed cautious, and still lost before she could react. Unacceptable. Xi Jing casually dusts off his hands and says lightly, thanks for going easy on me, sixth senior sister. The system rings non-stop: mental combat EXP up, training EXP up, even health cultivation increases. But what catches his attention most is a subtle change. This time, the system doesn't count it as weak defeating strong. He instantly understands. With twin birth speed active, the system no longer ranks him below Shan Ying. Speed alone erased the gap. Realizing this, Xi Jing's eyes grow sharper. Twin birth is far stronger than he imagined. If he fully exploits his speed advantage, he can crush opponents in an instant. His cultivation path just became crystal clear. Right then, Fu Guang walks over with a friendly smile and asks if Xiao Shidi wants to train the coiling dragon art together. Sei Jing nods, instantly humble as ever, even asking fifth senior brother for some guidance. But seconds later, Fu Guang's face freezes. Hold on, you trained all night and now you're about to condense dragon ki. For real? Xi Jing pauses. Seeing he doesn't get it, Fu Guang takes a deep breath and explains the legendary martial realm called Bao Body, where the body becomes a living treasure. Once you reach it, your physique hits 5 terrifying limits. Muscles coil like water dragons twisting under the skin. Tendons and bones become tougher than ancient trees that stood for 10,000 years. Skin turns flawless like glazed crystal, bones jade-like and nearly indestructible. When you circulate ki, your blood boils like molten lava. Just imagining it feels oppressive. The catch, it's all legend. No one has ever truly reached it. Xi Jing says nothing, but inside his thinking differently. Just because others failed doesn't mean he will. With the system and this path, why not push martial arts to myth level? Suddenly, boom, the window shatters, glass flying everywhere, and a figure crashes in with pressure that dominates the entire dojo. Fu Guang's expression changes instantly. Big senior brother is here. He quickly introduces him as the strongest in Kanglong Dojo, Ba Kang. Then he adds, slightly helpless, this senior has a weird habit. He loves breaking windows instead of using doors. Si Jing is stunned. He calculates the height of this floor. That jump alone proves how monstrous Ba Kang really is. Fu Guang forces a smile, but before he can speak, Ba Kang shrugs slightly. Message received. Fu Guang immediately steps aside. Before leaving, Fu Guang throws one last tip. The core of coiling dragon art lies in force control and shaping. Si Jing stands still, replaying two words in his mind. Force controlling. All this time he only stacked power, never shaped it. With his current precision, maybe he can create something new. He sits down and starts guiding the clay inside. Time passes. Streams of spiritual energy keep flowing into him from the surroundings. Veins bulge on his arm and a strange energy mass slowly forms in his palm. His gaze sharpens to the extreme. He locks onto the target and in one decisive moment, fires the force straight out. A thunderous explosion erupts, shockwaves sweeping across the entire space. Even Jing is stunned. This attack is on a completely different level. Then suddenly, clapping echoes from behind. Li Qi has been standing there who knows how long, eyes full of approval. He laughs and says Qi Jing not only has a terrifying body talent, but also rare skill in force control. With that, he takes out a pill and hands it over, telling him to swallow it immediately. Si Jing doesn't hesitate, he takes it and swallows on the spot. Instantly, Li Qi's spiritual aura surges violently. His expression turns serious as he stares straight at Qi Jing. Look at me. In the blink of an eye, the world around Qi Jing completely changes. He feels dragged into a strange space, surrounded by an endless deep sea, with blinding light glowing from below. Before he can react, a colossal dragon charges at him, its pressure alone enough to suffocate anyone. It stops right in front of him and opens its massive eyes, locking onto Qi Jing. In that instant, his consciousness feels dragged into an abyss. His pupils flash with eerie red light. Si Jing looks down at his arm, sensing the strange transformation spreading through his body. One thought echoes in his mind. What is this? He nearly collapses, clutching his head as his whole body trembles in pain that feels like it's tearing him apart. The key inside him goes completely berserk, rampaging everywhere. It's clearly the pill. But there's no time to panic. He grits his teeth and forces himself to stay conscious. He keeps taking deep breaths, dragging the chaotic Kai back into orbit. Si Jing pours all his focus into compressing the flow, forcing it into one mass. Face red, veins bulging, the pressure is insane. Just when his body feels ready to explode, his mind suddenly turns crystal clear. All the noise disappears, pure silence. In that hazy space, light erupts, a massive claw slowly reveals itself. The pressure is overwhelming, and Si Jing realizes he's facing something like a true giant dragon. Strangely, he feels no fear. His mind is locked on cultivation, ignoring everything else. Then the space starts cracking apart, light spreading like shattered glass. The moment he opens his eyes, the system chimes in. Conditions met. Visualization skill officially activated. Back in reality, Qi Jing slowly opens his eyes, still confused about what just happened. Li Qi laughs and explains that if he had stayed in that state any longer, his ki would have been completely drained. But on his first try, he condensed Dragon Ki. That kind of talent is rare. Now Qi Jing is fully intrigued. Li Qi explains simply. Dragon Ki is basically an emotional eruption. Like when someone gets furious or faces death, their strength spikes. In Kanglong style, it's divided into moving ki for ignition and still ki for control. Only by balancing both can you truly step into martial arts. The more Qi Jing hears, the more hooked he gets. He immediately wants deeper training tips. Li Qi just smiles, this part must be comprehended alone, no shortcuts. Not long after, Qi Jing figures out the key himself. Keep the mind stable, no fluctuations. He closes his eyes and focuses. Soon his memory sharpens to a scary level. Even old math problems feel like reading the answer sheet. Not just memory, his emotions stabilize, barely affected by the outside world. His imagination skyrockets too. With a single thought, he can construct a colossal dragon in perfect detail inside his mind. Only now does Qi Jing truly understand what visualization really means. But theory isn't enough. Li Qi immediately drags Qing Qiao over as his sparring partner. She just finished eating, crumbs still on her lips, looking harmless. Yet she has the best force control among the disciples. Si Jing is confused. She looks soft, but her aura is terrifying. Seriously, what is this contrast? No extra words. Qing Qiao simply raises her hand. Jing gets the signal and charges. Before he can even touch her, his intent gets completely locked down, like she read every move in advance. The suppression is so strong even his system feels overshadowed. Still, Qi Jing keeps pushing. One simple thought fills his head. Martial arts has no mercy. If you're still standing, you're winning. Sadly, every strike gets neutralized with ease. His force backward again and again, sweat soaking his body. Even so, he refuses to quit. The fight drags on until sunset, the room filled with non-stop impacts. Finally, in a rare split second, Si Jing's punch lands. It even forces Qing Qiao to step back a few paces. Si Jing stands frozen, staring at his hand like he can't believe it. Li Qiu quickly catches Qing Qiao and announces the end of training. He says continuing won't help, let her rest first. Watching fourth senior sister walk away in silence, Xi Jing grows curious. Li Qiu only says she went through something that can't be mentioned. Then he turns and asks how Si Jing feels after today's session. Si Jing laughs tiredly. Has never been this drained but never this satisfied either. Meanwhile, the system keeps spamming stat increases. The more he thinks about it, the more terrifying Qing Qiao feels. Just a few hours and he improved this much. Yeah, he's definitely sticking to her for long-term training. Night falls as Xi Jing walks home alone, body exhausted but mind completely fired up. The moment he gets back, he loudly calls for Huan Ni while flexing the fried chicken he bought. Instead, all he gets is a complaint about coming home late. Then suddenly, a sound from the bathroom makes him freeze. Someone is definitely inside. Standing by the door, Xi Jing frowns. There's only one pair of shoes outside, so it has to be Huan Nai. But the more he thinks about it, the weirder it feels. She mentioned having enemies before. Did someone break in and capture her? The thought instantly sends him into panic mode. He shoves the door open and yells her name. The scene inside makes him freeze for a few seconds before finally sighing in relief. She's literally just taking a bath. Meanwhile, Huan's face goes completely red as she splashes water at him, yelling for him not to look. Bro, she's dying from embarrassment. Xi Jing barely reacts. He grabs her hand to pull her up and tells her to hurry before the fried chicken gets cold. The second she hears fried chicken, Huan's eyes light up instantly. Shame. Gone immediately. Sunset paints the room gold while Xi Jing casually helps her wash up faster. Meanwhile, Huan Nai only thinks about food the entire time, to the point the system announces her affection points rising fast. But right then, the bell on her tail suddenly starts glowing. A strange light bursts out violently, forcing Huan Ni to shove Xi Jing far away. The light is so blinding Xi Jing has to shut his eyes completely. When the glow finally fades, everything feels different. What he touched no longer feels like a cat. Xi Jing hesitates before calling her name, completely confused. Huan Ni is transformed into human form, her face so red it looks ready to explode. She instantly jumps up to cover herself while yelling at him not to look. Even with his eyes covered, Xi Jing tries calming her down, saying he seriously didn't see anything. But her body keeps going through strange changes, making her panic even harder until she can barely speak properly. Xi Jing quickly guesses the trigger condition for the divine relic was accidentally activated. Hearing that, Huan Ni freezes as she recalls her emotions earlier and the excitement over food. Turns out a tiny emotional spike triggered the transformation. The condition is so ridiculous even she doesn't know whether to laugh or cry. Then she realizes the situation she's in and instantly turns even redder. Xi Jing can only laugh awkwardly as she explains some things are completely beyond her control. Huan Ni gets so embarrassed she's about to explode, blaming him for not warning her sooner and forcing him to keep his eyes shut no matter what. But the moment she stands up, she slips and loses balance. A scream rings out as she falls straight onto Xi Jing. The atmosphere instantly turns nuclear level awkward, while Huan Ni frantically explains she didn't mean it. Somehow struggling only makes it worse. Xi Jing can only grit his teeth and endure, awkwardly telling her to calm down before the situation becomes completely unsalvageable. After pure chaos levels of confusion, Huan Ni nearly bursts into tears before running outside and slamming the door behind her. Left alone in the bathroom, Xi Jing can only sit there and sigh helplessly. When he finally walks out later, he finds Huan Ni transformed back into a cat, looking completely defeated. Even she has no clue what happened. Once her emotions stabilized, her body just turned back automatically. Xi Jing instinctively reaches out to pet her, but Huan Ni quietly dodges and turns her face away. Xi Jing can only laugh bitterly, realizing their relationship definitely changed after tonight. He gently suggests finding someone who understands divine relics tomorrow. Maybe they can help her control the transformation ability. Huan Ni only coldly replies whatever. Even so, Xi Jing can't stop imagining her transforming again while he respectfully apologizes to the cult leader like his life depends on it. Just thinking about it is hilarious. Meanwhile, Huan Ni curls up in a corner giggling quietly to herself for some unknown reason. Xi Jing sees that and can only shake his head helplessly. A peaceful night slowly passes as morning sunlight slips into the room, bringing a rare sense of calm. The system conveniently reports another health stat increase while Xi Jing wakes up in a great mood seeing Huan Ni still sleeping beside him. But the peaceful atmosphere gets shattered fast by the non-stop buzzing of his phone. The message from Yu Jing is short and direct. Get here immediately. The moment Xi Jing reads it, the corner of his mouth curls up. Looks like the real mission is finally here. Not long after, he arrives at Qingqing Library right on schedule. But the second he steps inside, something feels off. He was called here urgently, yet the place is strangely silent. He scans the room and spots nobody familiar except a girl with glasses quietly sitting in the corner. At first, Xi Jing pays her no attention, but the more he looks, the more familiar she seems. After staring for a few seconds, he finally realizes it's actually Wu Yu Jing. She smiles lightly and removes her glasses. The instant she does, her entire presence explodes outward. Xi Jing blanks out for a moment, eyes lingering on her face way longer than usual. Yeah, she looks insanely attractive. Yu Jing has to cough a few times to snap him back to reality. Xi Jing instantly turns his head away like nothing happened. She explains the glasses are a divine relic that blurs the wearer's existence, making people unconsciously ignore them. But once removed, all that suppressed presence erupts at once. The longer it's worn, the crazier the effect. Only then does Xi Jing realize the attraction he felt wasn't entirely his own fault. Not giving him much time to think, Yu Jing immediately gets to the point and hands over a new mission. Recover a cranked divine relic. Normally not rookie work, but this case is special. The target is a relic called the Evil Woman's Crown of Glory, currently possessed by a girl named Lu Huiying. The relic amplifies primal desire. Once she becomes interested in someone, her obsession spirals completely out of control. The plan sounds simple, but man, the details are awkward. Xi Jing will first wear the glasses to suppress his presence, then suddenly remove them and use the burst effect to make Lu Huiying lose control. During that opening, he'll remove the crown. In simple terms, Xi Jing is the live bait. Xi Jing can only sigh. But honestly, the plan weirdly fits him perfectly. Meanwhile, the system secretly absorbs divinity from nearby relics, and the rising progress bar gets him even more excited. Just to test it, Xi Jing removes the glasses right in front of Yu Jing. Her heartbeat instantly goes chaotic, while the system quickly pops up another affection increase notification. Xi Jing is pretty satisfied with the relic's real-world effectiveness. After finalizing the plan, he immediately heads towards South City by car. Along the way, Xi Jing reviews all the information about the target. Lu Huiying is no ordinary person. Using the relic's power, she built an entire faction for herself. Her territory covers bars, nightclubs, and entertainment districts, full on underworld queen energy. On top of that, her physique strengthens based on desire levels. The more she indulges herself, the stronger she becomes. If nobody stops her, that power could keep stacking endlessly. The only real solution is removing the crown and returning her to normal. As the car stops in South City, Jing steps out with a much more serious expression. From here on, things won't be simple anymore. Amid South City's chaos, he quietly observes and calculates. In front of him, Ying is swinging a bat around and wrecking the entire street like she owns the place. Watching her, Jing can only judge silently, basically a delinquent wrapped in big sister gangster packaging. But the moment his eyes land on the crown, he instantly confirms it. No mistake, that's the target. Jing stays hidden and watches, deeply unwilling about this whole seduce the target mission. But before he can even move, trouble arrives first. Another group suddenly storms in, led by Duan Kaiping from the Shidao gang. Clearly here for turf war business. The two sides barely exchange words before diving straight into chaos. Crashes and screams erupt everywhere while Ying instantly drops her playful attitude and gets serious. The clash between the two powerhouses is so intense the ground trembles nonstop, dust exploding across the entire street. Watching from outside, Jing quickly analyzes it. Duan Kaiping fights sharp like a blade while Lu Huiying tanks everything thanks to the relic. At this rate, it'll drag on forever. Right then, the system announces divine absorption complete. Jing's eyes instantly change. No more waiting. He strikes in a flash, piercing Kaiping's defense and heavily injuring him in one move. The entire battlefield freezes. Huiying snaps her head toward him, eyes full of caution. Kaiping clutches his wound, face pale, and retreats immediately. No way he's staying. Only then does Jing step out of the shadows. Huiying frowns. A kid like him did that. Jing doesn't even bother hiding it. He admits it straight up. In his mind, has already decided. Forget the bait plan. This time he's going head-in. Gotta test the new power. Huiying just laughs in disdain. She clearly doesn't take him seriously. Jing calmly closes his eyes and takes a deep breath. The ki inside him surges, even the surrounding air starts to shift. Even Huiying instinctively raises her guard. When he opens his eyes again, his aura is completely different. Calm, confident. If you want a name, he says slowly, call me Yuan Hao. South City was already chaotic, but the moment the system activates Twin State, Jing shoots forward like lightning, so fast the light behind him seems torn apart. Every step shakes the ground. The pressure is insane. 1 second slower and you'd get crushed. Facing that speed and force, Huiying can only widen her eyes in shock. Before she reacts, punches rain down like a storm. Explosions roar, dust and rubble flying everywhere. Right now, Jing's fists feel like a human-shaped destruction machine. When the smoke clears, he exhales lightly and looks at his swollen hand. Yesh is tough. The crowd goes wild. Some even think it's an action movie shoot. Walls shattered, ground caved in. Everyone assumes Huiying is done. Then suddenly an arm slowly rises from the rubble. Lu Huiying steps out, eyes crazed, killing intent thick enough to freeze the air. The crown on her head glows pitch black, making the atmosphere suffocating. She grits her teeth. You picked the wrong opponent. Jing just smiles, excited. Now this feels like a real fight. Huiying charges, aiming to crush him on the spot. Every attack misses. Jing dodges cleanly. The moment he counters, his punch slams in her face and blood sprays out. The pain only drives her more insane. The battlefield pressure skyrockets. But just as she's about to unleash everything, Jing casually raises one hand. The simple motion makes her pause for a split second. His eyes flash, a magic circle spins into motion. Then he flicks her forehead. Just a light flick. Yet the force is monstrous. Huiying screams in agony. In Jing's mind, one cold thought remains. In battle, only victory matters. Pretty or dirty means nothing. Her body trembles violently. Jing doesn't hesitate and brings both fists down like sledgehammers. She gets smashed headfirst into the ground in the most humiliating way possible. The crown flies off, clanging across the rubble. It ends so fast the crowd can't even process it. Jing calmly adjusts his glasses. He walks over, picks up the crown, and the system immediately starts extracting divinity. Jing casually snaps a few photos and sends the mission report. His tone is relaxed, like he just handled some minor street issue. As for Lu Huiying's fate, he doesn't really care. With what she's done, someone would settle the score sooner or later. But before he can relax, the system suddenly spams alerts. Divine power is rising at an abnormal rate. Something's wrong. And right then, a cold voice filled with crushing pressure echoes from behind him. Jing turns around and sees a man standing there, eyes sharp enough to cut steel, demanding the crown right now, and yeah, the tension just spiked. Jing knows he can't afford to get stalled here, so he shuts that down instantly. The guy's killing intent explodes, pressure so heavy the air feels frozen, and in his eyes Jing is just some weak kid. Yeah, that thought lasted about 2 seconds. Jing says nothing, throws a brutal low blow straight to the groin, then bolts, leaving after images behind. But plot twist, the guy saw it coming, dodges clean, and sticks to him like glue. His body's hard like metal, every step heavy yet somehow insanely fast. While sprinting, Jing analyzes fast. This guy is not easy prey, drag it out and he's dead, and right then the system says divinity absorption almost complete. And then boom, a terrifying strike tears through space out of nowhere. The impact sends Jing flying through dozens of concrete slabs, pain everywhere, absolutely brutal. That's when he realizes no matter how he runs, escaping this monster won't be easy. At the critical moment, the system pops up, new skill unlocked and ready to activate. No hesitation, Jing triggers it on the spot. Meanwhile, the man walks over slowly, voice cold like a death sentence, saying hand it over and hell only cripple Jing, but just as he thinks is won, a hand suddenly bursts out from the rubble and shoots straight at him. For the first time his eyes waver, and he mutters 3 words, reward receiver. Jing slowly reaches out from the debris, sounding genuinely confused. Wait, you talking about me? Ji looks like he's seen a ghost, backing up in panic, shouting if not you then who? Ji Jing's hand is now wrapped in eerie black energy, dark flames rising. Even he freezes for a second because this power feels completely unfamiliar. He blasts apart the surrounding rubble and lets the strange aura spread everywhere. His mind is in chaos. Am I really fighting another reward receiver? The system flashes cold data. Shadow Flame level 1 Divinity 3910 threshold exceeded. What confuses him more is how Ji recognized him just from one look at the black flame. What exactly is a reward receiver, and what does it have to do with him? Before he can think deeper, Ji is already slowly retreating, escape written all over his face. Ji Jing's gaze turns icy. No way is letting this guy run, and with a flick of his hand the black aura shoots out like it has its own mind. Ji dodges in panic and screams for it to stay away. Ji Jing just stands there stunned. He only thought about attacking and it autolocked the target. Bro got built-in tracking or what? Ji keeps running, constantly looking back, voice cracking in despair. But the black aura slips straight into his body through his breath. In an instant his face twists, body convulsing violently, screams choking in his throat. Ji Jing watches with a slight frown, and yeah, there's a strange hint of excitement rising inside him. That feeling quickly turns into intense nausea. He turns away and dry heaves while the system goes crazy announcing massive combat EXP gains. Stats flood and like this is some classic underdog victory. Physique, longevity, force control, even aiming ability, all leveling up non-stop. Still, Ji Jing isn't in the mood to celebrate. He pushes himself up and looks at Ji's corpse. Right at the chest, something is glowing beneath the black aura. The more he looks, the colder he feels, because most of Ji's body is synthetic skin, insanely durable, barely damaged even after prolonged burning. If the flame hadn't invaded from the inside, killing him would have been almost impossible. Ji Jing picks up a half-burned stone to examine it, then quickly concludes this black flame is nothing like normal fire, no carbonization, cold to the touch, and the damage seems tied to the target's durability. When he looks back at his hand, the black flame is already gone without a trace. The system interface leaves only one short line. This power is born from darkness, and the deeper the dark, the stronger the shadow flame. That's when Ji Jing gets it. The surrounding darkness was the fuel, and now that the sky's brighter, the skill weakens too. The last trace of black aura fades away, leaving him standing there in silence. That's it. No warning, no cooldown guide, just gone like that, thanks system. Drained of energy, Ji Jing sighs and decides to shelve this for now and report first. Meanwhile, somewhere else in the South City, inside a pitch-black high-rise, a massive dark matter burns quietly. Black smoke keeps rolling up, and in front of it stands a man with arms crossed, watching. His gaze is ice-cold. He slowly strokes the flickering surface like calming a living creature, then asks, "Do you know why I called you here?" Below him, Kai Ping kneels on the ground, body wrapped in bandages, repeatedly apologizing for acting out despite prior warnings. The air turns suffocating, and in the blink of an eye, the man appears right in front of him. His hand clamps down directly on Kai Ping's head. Killing intent fills his voice. "You knew and still did it, tired of living." Kai Ping panics and keeps slamming his head down, begging for mercy. Finally, the man lets go and turns away like he's already bored. He coldly asks about the 2 experimental subjects sent earlier, and after hearing the answer, he freezes. Both are dead. One of them was even heavily injured by a teenage boy. Hearing that, his eyes narrow dangerously, veins bulging on his forehead. A normal kid did that. His voice drops to freezing levels, clearly unable to believe it, yet the facts are right there. He roars in anger. Even unfinished experiments are not meant to be humiliated by some mortal. Then he gives a ruthless order, "Bring that boy to me. I'll personally throw him to the sky-speed insect mother." The twisted smile on his face looks completely insane, like he can already see that monster birthing stronger offspring, and one day he'll stand at the top of the food chain and swallow the world whole. Back at the quiet library, Ji Jing stands there thinking, replaying everything that just happened. A mission that seemed simple somehow turned into a massive mess, and he has no idea how Wu Yujing will handle it, but overthinking won't help. Worst case, he just earns more merit to make up for it. The elevator doors open on the 7th floor. The moment he steps out, he sees Yujing bowing her head in a serious apology, catching him off guard. Completely opposite of what he expected, she takes full responsibility and even upgrades the mission rank with compensation. Ji Jing can only scratch his head and respond vaguely, confused but not asking further. Then Yujing gets to the point. The deceased has been identified as Zhou Yingkun. He was a crank containment officer from another company, and they claim it was a personal action, not organization-related. But Ji Jing immediately feels something's off. A grown man fighting over the evil woman's crown just sounds wrong. Yujing points out the same issue. The geographic distance between his assigned task and the scene doesn't match at all. The traces look almost too perfectly erased, which only makes it more suspicious, so she decides to investigate personally. As for Ji Jing has told to stay out of it for now, he nods and hands over the crown. The divine relic glasses, however, are kept for future missions. Just when he thinks it's over, Yujing suddenly mentions the autopsy results. Zhou Yingkun's internal organs were completely gone without a single trace, and Ji Jing pauses slightly as the image of the black flame flashes in his mind, but he stays silent. He brushes it off and changes the topic, and Yujing doesn't press further, her face slightly red as she turns away, like both of them are hiding their own secret. After that, she hands him the containment certificate, officially recognizing Ji Jing and unlocking library access. That instantly grabs his attention, because this might be the only place with clues about the cattail ring. The moment he steps into the archive zone, the space feels completely different. Rows of glowing books line the area, each tagged with divine relic codes. Every book hides its own secret, but when he casually grabs one, access denied pops up immediately. He tries a few more, same result over and over, blocked every time, and yeah, that's annoying. So much for full access, right? But when he searches for Code God 1391, the cattail ring, that book opens smoothly on its own, like it's been waiting for him. The content shocks him. This ring doesn't just turn someone into a cat. After a while it allows free switching between forms. At first Jing thinks it's just a support ability, but the more he reads, the darker it gets, especially the part about a doctor who went insane after witnessing it and founded the evil god cult. He keeps reading, more secrets about evil gods unfold, including divine remnants born after a god's death. There are also artifacts that connect to entities beyond human understanding, and people kneeling to beg for power. Those people are called reward receivers, and now Jing realizes JG wasn't joking at all. Turns out this whole thing is just a tiny corner of a massive hidden system. But the real bombshell comes next. 200 years ago a cult tried to contact the god Bastet and failed every time. Only when someone wearing the cattail ring fully transformed into a real cat did Bastet respond. But the chosen one wasn't the human, it was the relic itself. From that moment on, the ring stopped being just a tool. It became a vessel of Bastet's will and power, and over time the wearer will be assimilated until they become a complete Bastet. Yeah, that's terrifying. Which also means the evil god cult will definitely try to seize the ring back, even if they have to kill its current holder. Jing quietly closes the book, eyes turning heavy, one thought echoing in his mind: Huan Ni has already been targeted. The black cat stands there with arms crossed like she knew all along, pushing him to grow stronger at any cost, and now he finally understands why. If his strength doesn't rise fast enough, worst case scenario, both of them disappear from this world. Just remembering the man in black sends a chill down his spine as he flips to the next page. His eyes stop at the fusion conditions with the cat-tail ring. The first time requires an intense emotional trigger, and afterward, the same type of emotion must be recreated to deepen the fusion. The memory from last time flashes vividly in his mind, and his face turns red instantly. He shakes his head trying to clear it, but the more he avoids it, the clearer it gets. If every transformation needs that, are they seriously going to repeat it again and again? Just thinking about it makes his brain short-circuit. Then he checks the side effects section, only to almost laugh. It says no side effects at all, just beware of being hunted by the evil god cult, like that's no big deal. He searches further, but crucial info like Bastet's true power or how to remove the ring is missing. Seems like crank clearance isn't enough. Right then his phone suddenly vibrates. A transfer notification pops up, over 200,000 yuan hits his account, and he just stands there. Turns out it's compensation from Jing, and his mood instantly improves. At least no more money problems for a while. Now he can focus fully on training. He even starts planning a good dinner for Huan Ni tonight, and maybe find a chance to talk about those transformation conditions. 5 days pass in a blink, and the money flows out like water. Just training the battle armor technique alone burns 20,000 yuan, plus medicine baths after every session. Yeah, this cultivation life is expensive. When he checks his balance again and sees just over 30,000 left, Jing finally feels the true terror of financial pressure. Meanwhile, the black cat is chilling, eating like nothing's wrong, and even reminds him to spend wisely. From weapons to hidden tools to specialized outfits, every single item costs a fortune, and Jing's eye twitches nonstop. He just got rich 5 minutes ago and now has already speedrunning poverty again. With no other choice, he messages Chen Fuguang for help, and they quickly set a meeting at the dojo the next afternoon. This time Jing shows up completely different from before. His breathing is steadier and his gaze is way sharper. In just 5 days, the change is so obvious that even Fuguang is surprised. When asked to demonstrate his strength, Jing says nothing and throws a light punch that looks almost harmless. A few people nearby even chuckle at it. And then boom, the punching bag cracks and explodes on the spot, jaws dropping everywhere. The entire crowd goes dead silent. Jing calmly explains this is soft force, a technique that compresses all power into one point and detonates it from the inside. Sounds simple, hits terrifying. The way people look at him instantly changes. Maming is openly impressed, and Fuguang directly offers a huge opportunity. A bodyguard job with a reward of 800,000 yuan. The second Jing sees that number, his eyes light up, all money stress deleted. Only one thought remains: I'm taking this. The car slowly pulls up in front of Regio Hotel and stops. The door opens and Jing steps out looking calm as ever. But his presence makes people hesitate to underestimate him. Whispers start in the lobby. Some think his security, others guess as a young master. One thing's clear, he looks way too young. Hearing that, Jing just smiles lightly and glances at his outfit. He remembers his senior sister saying people judge by appearance first, and back then he thought comfort was enough. But recalling the flashy red suit Shan Ying once forced him to try on, he can't help but laugh. Not to mention Qing Qiao later showing up in a sleek black suit and completely dominating. Thinking about it now, his senior sister's fashion sense really was on another level. Around him, people start whispering about how handsome he is, and a few girls even consider asking for his contact. On the other side, a group of martial artists stare at him more seriously. Some doubt is truly a core disciple of Hidden Dragon Dojo, because his aura feels unfamiliar. But sharper eyes notice his footsteps are terrifyingly steady, every movement refined to the extreme, clearly not ordinary. While the crowd is still talking, Jing registers at the front desk, and is assigned to guard the stage area. Dim lighting, highest risk zone, sounds normal enough. But when he sees the number of bodyguards and the dense surveillance setup, he immediately knows this isn't simple. A normal banquet would never need this level of security, and that puts him on alert. Right then, a man steps forward, introducing himself as Li Zhachuan from Amber Dojo, politely proposing a hand match, but everyone knows he's testing the young guy. Jing doesn't refuse, he also wants to see how strong he's become. The match quickly draws attention, some watch nervously, some gossip, a few even start betting, but while the atmosphere outside is tense, Jing stays strangely calm. At first Zhachuan underestimates him because he can't sense any aura, but seconds later his expression changes as pressure begins flowing from Jing's hand. At first it feels light like flowing water, but it keeps building, silent and terrifying like an undercurrent. Jiachuan's hand starts trembling, panic rising as he has no idea what's happening. It's obvious Jijing isn't even using full strength, and then a clear crack echoes in the air. Even Jijing flinches at the sound. He briefly worries he overdid it, while Jiachuan grits through the pain and quickly pulls his hand back. He forces a smile like nothing happened, throws out a few compliments to save face, then finds an excuse to leave. The moment is out of sight. He clutches his hand, pain almost bringing him to tears as he collapses in a corner, pride shattered, only shock and humiliation left, one thought looping in his head. That kid is a monster in human skin. As Jijing walks away, something feels off. That cracking sound keeps replaying. The more he thinks about it, the more it sounds like bone breaking. And just as unease creeps in, someone calls out, "Brother Jing!" He turns and sees Pei Xiaoguang waving casually like nothing's wrong, smiling about how long it's been. And yeah, Jijing recognizes him instantly. They chat while heading toward the stage. Jijing teases that he really is a young master after all. Xiaoguang awkwardly admits he's just an illegitimate son, surviving thanks to his older brother's support. Jijing cuts to the chase and asks what he wants. Xiaoguang hesitates, then says his brother noticed that overwhelming move earlier and wants to meet him. After all, Jijing got into Inner Ring University through martial exams. Jijing glances toward the stage, spots a man standing there, and asks if that's him. Xiaoguang nods and adds that several young ladies and madams also want to get to know him, asking when he's free. Jijing sighs, says tonight's impossible because he's on duty. Casual socializing is fine, but if they're serious, they can come find him themselves. After all, if you want something, you grab it yourself, not sit around waiting for it to be handed over. With that, he waves and walks off, leaving Xiaoguang staring in admiration, thinking, yeah, that's cool. But he doesn't get far before being surrounded by people asking for his contact, clearly inspired by what he just said. Qingtao steps forward too, shyly asking to add him. Others push in saying they want it too, the scene getting chaotic, and right then Jijing notices someone moving equipment across the area. Strange thing is, the manager never mentioned any transport activity here. He's about to look closer when Liu grabs him. She insists on getting his contact, promising to tell him plenty of interesting stories later. Jijing helplessly asks for her number first while the crowd behind still refuses to disperse. At the same time, in a shadowy corner no one notices, someone presses a strange red button. Instantly a light turns red, giving off a heavy sense of danger. Jijing glances at his phone and feels something's wrong, even briefly wondering if it malfunctioned. But he quickly realizes it's not that simple. In the blink of an eye, the entire space is swallowed by darkness, and panic screams erupt everywhere. Some think it's just a blackout and try to turn on their phones, but none work. Every electronic device is completely dead. Standing in the dark, Jijing thinks fast. His phone had full battery, yet it won't power on. It's not just him, everyone's the same, plus the lighting system failed simultaneously, which means something just wiped out all electronics here. Like an EMP sweep, but if it's targeting one thing, this is way too overkill. Suddenly, all the glass windows around them shatter at once. More screams explode. Liu clings tightly to Jijing, and is almost certain something big is about to go down. In the main hall, chaos spreads. Some try to calm others, saying it's just strong wind or an accident, but more and more people sense something's wrong. Someone even realizes the person who was just standing beside them has vanished without a trace. A bodyguard flicks on a lighter for light, and on stage Pei Wu quickly orders everyone to gather back to avoid surprise attacks. Just as some follow the instruction, an eerie sound echoes through the darkness. A trembling voice points ahead, stammering that something is moving over there. Before anyone could react, a man got yanked straight into the darkness and just vanished. All that was left on the floor was a pool of fresh, bright red blood. Screams exploded everywhere and the crowd instantly lost it, running in pure panic. Buyengo tried yelling for everyone to calm down, but something sliced past his face, leaving a deep cut as blood poured out immediately. The air in the darkness turned even more terrifying. Then a blurry figure slowly revealed itself in front of them. Buyengo didn't hesitate and threw a full power punch, blasting it straight into the wall. He barely had time to celebrate when another shadow lunged from the side. At the last second, Hu Kuang dashed in, shoved Buyengo away, and shouted for Big Bro. They barely dodged, but the guy behind them wasn't so lucky. He got sliced clean in half. Buyengo froze at the brutal sight. In the dark, the creature kept flickering in and out, moving so fast no one could track it. Buyengo finally snapped and screamed for everyone to run, but it was already too late. Just when things hit peak despair, a figure shot in at insane speed. Xu Jing arrived and kicked the monster so hard it slammed into the wall with a massive bang. He stood in front of everyone, eyes sharp, and asked what the hell this thing was. The monster was stuck flat against the wall. Its body twitched violently as it coughed up blood. That kick was no joke. Xu Jing quietly analyzed it, same type as before. Good thing he trained like crazy, or this wouldn't be so easy. Gasps filled the room. One kick pinned it to the wall. That strength was insane. Some even panicked, asking where the so-called professional bodyguards were. Hu Kuang stepped up to thank him, but Xu Jing immediately raised a hand to stop him. He coldly warned them not to get close. That thing wasn't dead yet. Right on cue, the monster kicked off the wall and bounced back. It charged at Xu Jing at crazy speed. He dodged and quickly assessed. Its life force felt way stronger than before, like it had just evolved. Xu Jing made a quick call. If he couldn't win, he'd retreat. No way he's trading his life for pocket change. The thought flashed by, and he countered instantly with a brutal inch-force strike. His elbow smashed into the back of its neck, sending it flying from the sheer impact. Xu Jing's eyes turned icy as he chased it down. He muttered, "You're not the only one who can move in the dark." Suddenly, his vision sharpened. The shadow flame skill finally kicked in. It gave him full night vision, something he didn't even realize he had. Bro really could have used this earlier. In the pitch black, his movements became so fluid and fast it was hard to even follow. Ji Quan watched in shock. He didn't expect Xu Jing to fight that monster head-on. But Biengo shook his head. He said if you look closely, Xu Jing never stepped back once. He was deliberately shielding everyone behind him. Realizing that, the group quickly retreated through the emergency exit, saying staying would only distract him. Better to call for backup. Once everyone was gone, Xu Jing finally relaxed a little. Now he could fight seriously. He raised his hand and taunted the monster. Had enough playing. My turn. The monster sprang up, red eyes locked onto him, and rushed forward like a mad beast. This time it was even faster. In a blink it closed the gap and slashed straight at Xu Jing's chest. Everything seemed to slow down in that instant. A thought flashed through his mind. Am I really dying here? To a monster like this? No way. He had trained like hell for this. There was no way he'd end in such a humiliating way. At the peak of his willpower, a massive glowing hand suddenly appeared and caught his body. Xu Jing landed on something solid and looked up to see a lightning-covered dragon forming beneath him. It felt insanely familiar, but he couldn't remember where he'd seen it before. Before he could process it, the monster rushed in again and slammed a punch into his stomach. But this time, it suddenly froze mid-attack, eyes shrinking in shock. A golden sphere wrapped in crackling lightning appeared around Xu Jing's body. Xu Jing opened his eyes, and they were practically burning. Lightning erupted from him as he unleashed the dragon-bearing flowing kill palm. Thunder exploded outward. His voice turned icy cold. I'm paying you back double. He followed up instantly with wind and cloud tail, forming a massive dragon arm. The crushing grip came down and obliterated the monster's head on the spot. Flesh and blood burst everywhere as the shattered skull hit the floor. The body collapsed right after. Xu Jing stared at his own hand like he'd just grasped something huge. But then he noticed the headless body still twitching violently. That's when it clicked. This thing was basically a cockroach, and cockroaches don't die that easily. No hesitation. He punched straight through the torso and ripped out a long object from inside. It was the nerve core beneath the esophagus, the real-life source. Just looking at its twisted size showed how insane the mutation was. The people hiding under tables finally crawled out. Everyone looked terrified and stunned. But that fear quickly turned into relief once they confirmed the monster was truly dead. Soon enough, people started whispering about Xu Jing's identity. Some even wanted to throw money at him just to get connected. Poor second young Master B got dragged in as the middleman. Ji Quan stood in the corner with an awkward smile while his friends teased him. Deep down, he knew the truth. When he sparred with Xu Jing earlier, the guy hadn't even used a fraction of his strength. He was lucky he didn't get crippled. Xu Jing stood up and told everyone to leave immediately. He had a bad feeling this wasn't over. Someone noticed the wound on his chest and rushed over in concern. Right then, Ye Chenglin walked up, introduced himself as the host, and asked for Xu Jing's opinion on what just happened. After taking the business card, Xu Jing spoke bluntly. From what he saw, this wasn't a normal accident. It was likely a man-made electromagnetic pulse. As for the monster, it was probably released on purpose. The goal: wipe out everyone at the party. Hearing that, Chenglin immediately declared it an organized assassination and promised a full investigation. But Xu Jing quietly grew suspicious. Everything was too well prepared, and so many martial artists were invited on purpose. If Ye Chenglin knew about the danger and still hosted this event, wouldn't that make him the biggest suspect? And none of the guests here were ordinary either. This could be random. Xu Jing warned everyone again. The monster was dead, but this place was still unsafe. If they wanted to live peacefully, they should leave now. The crowd instantly flooded toward the exits in total chaos. Meanwhile, Ye Chenglin leaned closer and softly asked if Xu Jing knew what that creature really was. Xu Jing calmly replied he was just a hired bodyguard, nothing more. But inside, Xu Jing understood. The probing had already begun, and this situation was way deeper than it looked. While the place dissolved into panic, people calling family, others demanding to leave the hotel immediately, Xu Jing calmly sat down and opened his system panel. That leftward fight had forced his body's potential to explode. Notifications flooded in. Body tempering, health training, running, combat skills, force control, visualization, almost everything skyrocketed. Some stats even hit 4 digits. Totally worth risking his life. Then the skills leveled up one after another, boosting his physique even further. Just as he was enjoying the gains, he suddenly noticed the wound on his chest starting to heal on its own. In just moments, every trace of the battle completely vanished. He stood up and stretched. His body felt fully reset, like nothing had ever hurt. Then the system popped up again. Conditions met. Basic force control can evolve into special force control. Xu Jing instantly thought about the wind and cloud tail he just awakened. This had to be the key. No hesitation, confirm. Specialization complete. Force control officially evolved into dragon-bearing force. The moment it finished, a massive change surged through him. His entire body felt unblocked. The internal flow became smoother than ever. All the previous stagnation disappeared. He immediately sat down. Taking advantage of this rare state, he ran another cycle of battle armor technique to stabilize his foundation. Right then, medical staff rushed in asking where the injured were. Budengo was about to answer but suddenly froze, because around Xu Jing's body, a faint golden dragon phantom was coiling. Just looking at it was shocking. Later, back at the martial hall, Xu Jing let Shanning personally apply medicine. He smiled in thanks. She sighed. A simple security job and you run into monsters. Talk about bad luck. Lai Qi walked over, saying missions like this always carry risks. Unexpected danger isn't rare. Xu Jing seized the moment to ask if he knew the monster's origin. Lai Qi paused, then said it was likely connected to the border zone. Hearing that, Xu Jing recalled the files he once read. Areas formed after the death of gods. What truly exists inside remains a mystery. Lai Qi waved it off. Surviving was already lucky, and this time it turned into a blessing. Xu Jing awakened the killing move wind and cloud tail of the hidden dragon style. For martial artists, life and death combat is the fastest growth path. Xu Jing slowly added that it felt like more than that. He sensed he had touched the true core of Hidden Dragon style. The moment he said that, Li Qi shot up from his wheelchair. He grabbed Xu Jing's hand to examine him. Then he leaned back, face filled with shock. He kept muttering that Xu Jing had nurtured a dragon inside his body. Shan Ying was stunned. Xu Jing himself had no clue what that meant. Li Qi burst out laughing. This wasn't an illusion. A strand of dragon force had gained spirit. From now on, training wasn't just body tempering. It was raising a real dragon within. That was the true core of Hidden Dragon style. And Xu Jing had already touched the key to breaking limits, meaning surpassing human limits. When bones, muscles, and blood reach the extreme, life begins to ascend. The body would be fundamentally reconstructed. It would look human, but its essence would be completely different. Taoists call it the longevity immortal. Buddhists call it the Buddha body. Those who reach it can live over 100 years in peak condition. Hearing that, Xu Jing couldn't help but think of his master's crippled legs. Maybe the accident happened during that process. Li Qi continued. Xu Jing had already passed the hardest gate. The risk ahead was much lower. The rest was pure accumulation and grinding. Xu Jing answered seriously. Shan Ying, still confused, asked why someone once so domineering like master ended up like this. Li Qi lowered his gaze. His voice turned heavy. The dragon he spent his life nurturing was killed by someone. That answer froze both of them on the spot. Then he began recalling his days dominating North City. Back then, he was insanely confident. He dragged Meng Bakang around challenging anyone he saw. Zero fear. Fight after fight, he made enemies everywhere. When they could deal with him, they targeted Meng Bakang's family. That pushed him completely over the edge. He went on a revenge spree without caring about consequences. For a time, no one could stop him. But the price always comes. A true powerhouse crippled him, severed both his legs, and his life crashed to the bottom. Those who once feared him turned their backs. Only Meng Bachang stayed. In the end, the two of them left North City and came here to open Hidden Dragon Martial Hall, just to get by. After hearing everything, Xu Jing asked straight up, "Have you ever thought about revenge?" Li Qi gave a bitter smile. Of course he had, but his enemies were big shots. Right now he had zero chance. He added that only when Xu Jing steps into the inner circle will he even be qualified to touch those matters. By the time the conversation ended, night had fully fallen. Not long after leaving, Xu Jing's phone buzzed. 8 million transferred, even he blinked. That was fast. Back home, he called Hong in silence. The empty house instantly gave him a bad feeling. No hesitation, he activated visualization to trace her. In his mind, he quickly saw Huang Ni running around inside the house. Then the little cat suddenly climbed out the window. Xu Jing rushed over and looked down. From a distance, he saw two figures closing in and blocking Huang Ni's path. His expression changed immediately. She was in trouble. Huang Ni raised her claws defensively and demanded why they came back after already leaving. At that moment, a blurry figure appeared behind them. The air grew heavy. Gonglong calmly said they came under orders from the Infinite Dragon. Hearing that name, Huang Ni froze disbelief in her eyes. The man stepped forward like he'd been fully brainwashed. He claimed her talent qualified her to become the chosen. With the church's power, everything could be restored. Before he could get closer, an arm blocked him. Xu Jing appeared, eyes ice-cold. "Didn't you hear her say no?" Huang Ni looked at him, surprised yet relieved. Xu Jing stood beside her and asked if these were her cult members. Gonglong didn't back down. He gave a twisted smile. His eyes glowed red as he mentioned Kang's security company like a threat. That made Huang Ni hesitate for a second. But Xu Jing calmly stepped forward again, completely ignoring the warning. That reaction shook them. Gonglong quickly changed tone, saying if Huang Ni stayed here, Xu Jing would get dragged into it. Huang Ni started to waver. Xu Jing, however, recalled the state of the world after the gods vanished. During that chaos, the government had to hand law enforcement power to private security companies. And Kang was one of the giants. They had grown so fast that almost no one could control them anymore. Huang Ni turning into a cat and hiding here was supposed to be secret. Now that the dragon cult found her, the risk just skyrocketed. What a headache. Even so, Xu Jing looked at her and said firmly, "Even if Kang shows up, I'm not afraid." That answer clearly startled Gonglong. Huang Ni's eyes, on the other hand, lit up. Gonglong stomped the ground in anger and demanded what right Xu Jing had to protect her. Xu Jing simply replied, "How would you know without fighting?" Calm words, absolute confidence. That only made the guy more annoyed. Just as he tried to pressure them again, Huang Ni suddenly cut in. All her bottled-up emotions exploded. She flatly refused everything. She didn't want to be any cult leader or accept some twisted ritual. It was all forced on her. Whoever wants it can take it. Just stop bothering her. After shouting, she panted heavily. The air went dead silent. Even the others froze. Then she turned to Xu Jing, a little shy, and quietly asked if he would really protect her. Xu Jing just smiled and nodded. No more words needed. That was enough. The two of them walked away together, leaving Gonglong standing there, not daring to make another move. Elsewhere, a cold voice confirmed that subject number 1 had been killed by a 17-year-old student. On the other end, someone gripped their phone tightly. Even a genius like Cheng Xuan at 17 might not have beaten that thing. And now Qing Cheng had produced an even scarier monster. The person beside him chuckled, suggesting the kid was probably secretly trained. But the other side didn't seem too concerned. The plan worked anyway. At least it damaged the council and put serious pressure on them. Another call came in. His eyes glowed eerie red as he asked about subject number 9. The report pleased him. That monster was growing at a terrifying speed. 10 days old and had already devoured high school 0.7. Insane. He immediately decided to use subject 9 as the template for future breeding, and soon it would be released to cause chaos. The chosen location, the high school where Xu Jing studies. Because once something happens there, public opinion will explode. The next morning, sunlight streamed into Xu Jing's training room. As he threw punches, he reminded himself, get strong enough and you solve all problems. If not, at least crush the one who created them. Every strike carried explosive force. Just hearing it made you wince. The system kept popping experience notifications. Hidden Dragon Force was rising fast, boosted by visualization. Xu Jing stopped, breathing hard, staring at his fist as he recalled the move Blazing Star Fire, the signature kill of Hidden Dragon style. That move pierces defense and destroys from the inside. He knew he had to master it completely. Right then, Fu Guang burst in, clearly hyped. He rushed over and hugged Xu Jing, saying last night caused a massive stir. The people who were saved all pooled money for the martial hall, and the entire amount was counted as Xu Jing's reward. Hearing it was over 20 million, his brain short-circuited. Spending ideas flooded in. Bro got rich fast. But before he could celebrate, Fu Guang handed him a training plan prepared by Master. At first glance, it seemed fine. Just a few $100,000 a day. Then he flipped the page, his face instantly twisted. Supplements, rare resources, endless expenses. Medicinal baths, muscle therapy, high-pressure training rooms. Add it weekly or monthly and it became a terrifying number. That's when Xu Jing truly understood the saying. Poor study literature, rich study martial arts. While he was still mourning his wallet, Fu Guang showed him a fresh news article. It was about a 17-year-old student who killed a monster barehanded and became the city's new martial arts prodigy. Before he could even process that, his phone started vibrating nonstop. An unfamiliar number flashed on the screen. He hesitated for a few seconds before answering. Not long after, his expression darkened. The moment the call connected, his teacher unleashed a thunderstorm of scolding. Didn't even ask why. Skipping school for so long and playing hero outside. Got some guts, huh? Xu Jing could only laugh awkwardly and mumble something about family matters. The teacher didn't care. He signed Xu Jing up for every sports event possible, sprints, long runs, everything, turning him into the class all-rounder. Xu Jing sighed internally, forced to carry the team. Just then, Shan Ying peeked in and waved him over. He quickly hung up and asked what was up. Turns out there was another commission. Easy job, high pay. Just acting as a sparring partner, 500,000. Xu Jing almost thought he misheard, but rich people spend differently. For them, this was pocket change. The location was Inner North Ring, also called Noble North, where top officials lived. Rumor says a few minutes of income there equals a year's salary elsewhere. The rich really live in another world. The villa alone looked half the size of a school. As Xu Jing was looking around, he spotted Biango and Hu Kuang already waiting at the gate. He thought they were the clients. Turns out they were just intermediaries. Someone else wanted to meet him through them. Xu Jing instantly became cautious. Hu Kuang nervously explained it was arranged by his father. Even he didn't know the details. The more he explained, the weirder it felt. Before entering, Biango added one more thing. The person inside might be stronger than anyone Xu Jing has ever met. As he finished speaking, the door slowly opened. A man sitting there reading a magazine looked up at them. The man calmly introduced himself as Shan Xiao. Just one glance and Xi Jing knew this guy was not ordinary. Scars and bullet marks covered his body. No normal person walks around like that. His aura screamed battlefield veteran, the real kind. Before small talk could even start, Shan Xiao stood up and said the fastest way to understand each other was to fight. He crushed the chair with one kick and rushed in. Xi Jing didn't dodge. He punched straight back. Their fists collided and the shockwave made everyone watching flinch. Shan Xiao smirked, thinking that punch should have shattered Xi Jing's arm. But Xi Jing stood there like nothing happened. Then he spun around and unleashed a wind cloud tail kick straight to Shan Xiao's back. The force sent Shan Xiao flying and face-planting into the ground. Pei Wu and Yu Guang froze. If that were them, their arms would be gone. Xi Jing casually dusted his hands and said this level was barely above some spoiled young masters. Instead of getting mad, Shan Xiao got excited. He stood up grinning like he found a new toy, urging Xi Jing to keep going. And now Xi Jing sensed something was off. That last hit could crush a monster, yet this guy barely reacted. It instantly reminded him of Zhong Yingkun. Xi Jing guessed it right away. Shan Xiao was a mutated entity. Shan Xiao admitted his body was implanted with special dermal tissue. It could absorb shock and counter a martial artist's internal force. He even invited Xi Jing to install it too. Xi Jing shook his head without hesitation. Shan Xiao laughed, saying martial artists are too stubborn to accept that times have changed. Then he suddenly clapped his hands. A strange sound wave spread out. Xi Jing felt dizzy, his arm almost numb. The closer the distance, the stronger it hit. Shan Xiao declared victory with full confidence. But while he was still feeling smug, Xi Jing was already in front of him. A lightning-covered hand pressed against his chest. Shan Xiao froze, eyes wide like he'd just seen the impossible. The next punch launched him into the air, tearing a huge chunk off his shirt. That power was insane. Xi Jing looked up calmly and muttered that this body was way too tough. If the outside won't break, then hit the inside. His internal organs were crushed from within. Shan Xiao drooled from the pain, looking absolutely wrecked. Xi Jing sighed, saying he only meant to spar, not go this far. Just needed to hold back a little. Shan Xiao was literally foaming at the mouth like his brain got reset. Then a voice from his communicator announced his consciousness had been interrupted. Someone was watching remotely. Xi Jing asked directly who they were and why they wanted him. The voice calmly said they'd arrive soon. They told him to wait a bit. Xi Jing told them to hurry up. He had other things to do. Zero respect. Meanwhile, Pei Wu and Yu Guang started imagining secret organizations and special trials. Xi Jing was done with their overactive imaginations. Shan Xiao struggled back up and asked how Xi Jing broke his move. Xi Jing answered simply. Sound waves are just vibrations. Use stronger force and crush them. Sounds easy, but everyone knew that was insanely hard. Shan Xiao realized this kid still hadn't gone all out. He sent the Pei brothers outside and finally got serious. Shan Xiao admitted he belonged to an official organization and invited Xi Jing to join. The reply was instant. Not interested. Especially after that fist-first greeting. Xi Jing added that if it's a proper organization, they should invite people properly, not pull stunts like this. After that, Xi Jing flat out rejected any future offers too. His current life was perfect. Train martial arts, earn money from missions, stack divinity. Why switch paths? Shan Xiao still tried tempting him with top-tier military gear stuff money can't even buy. Xi Jing coldly replied, "You had all that and still got wrecked." Critical hit. Shan Xiao could only warn that the human body has limits, and once you hit the ceiling, you'll go. But Xi Jing got even more excited. Limits make it fun. Using a natural body to crush modified freaks. That's the real goal. Shan Xiao had no comeback. Right then, the communicator buzzed again. A new voice cut in, roasted Shan Xiao's recruiting skills, and told them to look up. They looked up and boom, a figure dropped from the sky like a meteor. Massive impact. Dust everywhere. When the smoke cleared, Shu Ren stood there. Calm greeting, captain of Team 838. She casually called Shan Xiao a gorilla and he instantly protested. Xi Jing remembered she was the one who recommended him before. Shu Ren coughed lightly and said this time it was a direct order from higher-ups. She also brought up the second reason for coming, the monster Xi Jing killed earlier. When he said it was a border region creature, Shu Ren shook her head. Not exactly. She projected a spherical model called the Skyspeed Broodmother. Border creatures all have an energy core as their power center. The core moves, so unless it's destroyed, they can almost revive endlessly. Xi Jing realized he only won last time because he accidentally hit the weak point. A slight miss and the result might have changed. But what caught his attention was her not exactly comment. She explained the monster did have border creature traits, but something else was mixed inside. Then Shu Ren brought up a concept called danger level. Even Xi Jing had never heard of it. A normal human equals about 1 unit. Xi Jing was nearly level 3 now. That's over 1,000 normal people combined. And the Skyspeed Broodmother at full form. Tens of thousands of times stronger. Now Xi Jing got serious. But Shu Ren added that the creature focuses more on reproduction than combat. It absorbs genes from anything it eats and creates insanely twisted variants. After that, it vanished from Nan City without a trace. They only picked up the trail again after Xi Jing's incident. At that point, everything clicked for him. The monster he fought wasn't random. It was born from the Skyspeed Broodmother. Then a worse thought hit him, it might have been a fusion of human and snake. The atmosphere turned heavy fast. Shu Ren stared at him and said clearly that is now on the radar of whoever controls the Skyspeed Broodmother. Has ruined their plans more than once. Once you're marked, getting hunted is just a matter of time. Xi Jing instantly understood. That invitation earlier was never just about protecting him. And Shu Ren admitted it. They weren't after his safety. They wanted his terrifying potential. A 17-year-old who fought a border creature head-on and survived. That's a resource to fully develop. She promised the best training system available. Honestly, it sounded tempting. But Xi Jing knew the strongest thing he had was already within him. So he rejected her again, no hesitation. Shu Ren wasn't surprised. She just sighed like she expected this. But she didn't give up. If he wouldn't join officially, then become an external member. Stay free, take missions when needed, and still get benefits. That condition actually made Xi Jing hesitate. No strings attached, plus access to resources. Sounds like a win. So he asked the real question, divine relics. When Shu Ren showed him an entire vault of relic-related items, his eyes lit up instantly. No more thinking needed. They shook hands and sealed the deal on the spot. As Xi Jing left, he had no idea Shu Ren was already reassessing him from behind. In her eyes, he wasn't just a martial arts prodigy anymore. The fact that Wu Yuqing personally paid attention to him said more than enough. A woman blessed by the heavens placing expectations on a teenage boy. That's not normal. And the only thing that can truly oppose a god, besides divine relics, might just be Xi Jing himself. So even without full clarity, Shu Ren decided to keep him within her watch. Meanwhile, Xi Jing sat in the car, clueless about all this, just staring out the window and noticing the insane wealth gap across the city. Then his phone buzzed. A short message from Wu Yuqing popped up, come to the library. No room for refusal. Xi Jing didn't overthink it and headed straight there. But once they met, the vibe turned strangely different. The drink that looked ordinary was actually infused with a divine relic. Still, to Xi Jing, it didn't taste better than Coke. After brief small talk, Wu Yuqing went straight to the point. She asked about Bai Ya. When she heard he refused to join, she simply said, that was the right choice. Her reason was chilling. In over 60 years of existence, only a handful of members lived to retirement. The mortality rate? Basically absolute. Even Xi Jing felt cautious hearing that. Sure, he can revive, but that's not something you test casually. But she wasn't done. The next revelation was even heavier. The so-called Sixth Bureau behind Bai Ya is practically a force equal to a nation. Their authority is so high that internal members can cause massive incidents and still walk away untouched. That's when Xi Jing realized what kind of abyss he had brushed against. The conversation ended quickly, like it was meant to be just a warning. Not long after leaving, his phone rang again. This time it was the school. Xi Jing finally remembered he'd neglected his studies for way too long. After monsters and secret organizations, now he had to face the scariest being of all, the teacher. Meanwhile, in another corner of the city as sunset fell, a dangerous plan quietly moved forward. All experiments had been relocated. The Skyspeed Broodmother was still undetected, and chess piece number 9 had been released. This time the target was Xi Jing's school. A silent storm was approaching and no one noticed. The next morning, while the campus sports festival buzzed with energy, someone watched from the shadows. His eyes locked onto the girls playing sports, but in his mind, they were just fresh meat. Offer them all to the Broodmother, and the reward would be huge. The greed in his smile said it all. Soon, cheers from the balcony caught his attention. The girls were screaming Xi Jing's name. He looked down at the track and quickly spotted the boy. That ordinary-looking kid beat an experimental subject. Surprising. But that surprise quickly turned into interest. After all, very soon, everyone here would be happy in a different way. With that thought, he pushed his cart away like he was never there. Nearby, Li Qi noticed the janitor's back and felt something off. The aura didn't match, but he brushed it aside. Back on the track, Xi Jing crossed the finish line with a crushing lead. No one could keep up. When his name was announced as champion, the stadium exploded. The girls were screaming like hardcore fans. Sai Jing barely cared. He grabbed the water bottle and breathed evenly like that race was just warm-up. Leaky teased him, but his mind was already on the 400 2000 minute relay. The word relay made him pause. Turns out the teacher had signed him up for everything. Mid-conversation, Shi Jing suddenly stopped. A heavy sense of danger spread through the air. He took a slow breath. His face darkened. Not faint, fresh and thick. No hesitation. He activated his strength, eyes turning icy. One thought only, why is that thing here? Over at the lecture building, it was literal hell. A giant snake-human hybrid was tearing students apart. Screams everywhere. Blood and flesh splattered across the floor. Si Jing turned to Li Kei, voice cold. Call the police. Tell them there's a snake monster in the school. Then run as far as you can. Don't look back. Seconds later, Si Jing dashed to the building entrance. Corpses and blood everywhere. A nightmare scene. He didn't slow down. The snake creature locked onto a terrified girl who had fallen to the ground. It roared and lunged, ready to rip her apart. But at the last second, a figure dropped from above and blocked its path. Sai Jing, no words, just one brutal punch that blasted the monster into the wall. The creature only grew more feral. Si Jing calmly told the girl to get out. Now, that clash was just probing. If he wanted to survive, he had to stall. In a blink, he closed 10 meters and slammed a punch into its chest with explosive force. The outer shell shattered, revealing twisted flesh and a bizarre cockroach-shaped symbol inside. Right then, a messy-haired man ran out screaming for help. Sai Jing recognized him instantly, Duan Kaiping. Before he could ask anything, the monster regenerated and charged again. It happened too fast. In a blink, Duan Kaiping was torn apart right in front of him. Sai Jing's fist clenched, veins bulging. Without his rebirth ability, that body on the floor could have been his. The cockroachman turned around, every wound was gone. That regeneration speed was disgusting. No pause, it went straight back on the hunt. This time Si Jing could dodge fully. A deep gash ripped across his arm. As he created distance, he analyzed fast. Stronger than the hotel one, bigger body, tougher defense, and still evolving. Spikes, whiskers, even its pincers had all turned into lethal weapons. Sai Jing hurled a fire extinguisher, flooding the area with white smoke to block its vision. Using that moment, he launched a steel rod straight through its head. And it still wouldn't die. Unbelievable. In less than a second, it vanished from sight. Too fast for the naked eye to track. Sai Jing shut his eyes and activated visualization. If he couldn't see it, he'd feel it. A chilling, killing intent flared behind him. The moment he locked the position, he spun and counterattacked. All his power surged into the ultimate move of the pounding dragon style. The collision shook the air violently, but the feedback made him frown. That defense was insane. Quick kill, impossible. The priority now was stalling. With chaos this big, Baiya would show up, and when they do, the real fight begins. Smoke covered the entire area, glass shattered. Nearby buildings collapsed into rubble. Su Ren hovered above with an anti-gravity mutated entity and dragon wing gear, observing. Not even 5 minutes and the school was already wrecked. Shi Jing probably wasn't walking away clean. A helicopter kept circling overhead, monitoring the battlefield. Suddenly, Shu Ren shouted into the comms, "Move! Now!" The helicopter barely tilted away when a massive tornado shot straight into the sky. Shan Xiao panicked, reporting that the lecture hall had collapsed and asking if they should still land. Su Ren instantly activated her scan ability and swept the entire chaotic area below. She quickly locked onto a familiar figure, Si Jing. Land now, I've already sent you the mission data. You'll rescue Jing first. You two focus on capturing the Skyfood insect queen's offspring alive. Shan Xiao was stunned. Even the Dragonbone aberration was deployed. Captain was not holding back. Su Ren slammed onto the ground, the 8 metal wings behind her folding in at once. She rushed to Shi Jing, whose eyes were bloodred, totally out of control, turning to attack. But the moment he heard Shu Ren's voice, he froze. So you guys finally made it. Right after that, he collapsed from pure exhaustion. Su Ren caught him, fed him painkillers, and quickly stabilized his condition. Relax this time and not alone. On the other side, Shan Xiao and Kufu completely blocked the cockroach man's escape. The fight exploded instantly. The monster swung its blade and charged. Shan Xiao blocked it, but the shockwave rattled his brain and left him dizzy. Kufu tried a sneak attack from behind, but the damage still wasn't enough to finish it. Su Ren hovered midair and coldly shouted, telling them to line up the attack angle. She detached her device. Thousands of blades floated around her, then rained down like a storm. In seconds, the cockroach man was shredded into countless pieces. Even Shi Jing, watching from afar, had to admit every strike Shu Ren made hit a fatal weak point. But the creature still wasn't dead. Its body regenerated fast, swelling up like it was about to self-destruct. Su Ren ordered a retreat immediately, but they were one step too late. The cockroach man lunged at Kufu, killed him on the spot, then began molting. From the old shell, it was reborn all over again. Shan Xiao realized in horror this wasn't simple regeneration. It was evolution through molting. He was about to run when Si Jing forced himself up, eyes turning ice cold. This time, it's not escaping. He asked Shu Ren for a blade and poured all his twin power into it. With extreme acceleration, he threw it like a bullet. The blade pierced the cockroach man and pinned it to the ground. Shan Xiao was frozen. Barehand throw, but it hit like armor-piercing ammo. Shu Ren, meanwhile, was shaking with rage. That blade cost over 10 million. No joke. Still, at least the immediate threat was contained. Su Ren immediately ordered a full retreat and brought Si Jing back to Kanglong Dojo for treatment. On the helicopter, the air felt heavy. A teammate had just died, yet Shu Ren coldly refused to call for backup. If more die, my year-end evaluation score drops again. Si Jing could only sigh. Even Resurrected had never get used to someone like her. Right then, the system panel popped up. After that brutal fight, physique increased by 1367, health cultivation up 939, precision gained 111 EXP, pushing him straight to LV6. Kanglong force and visualization both leveled up too. Si Jing closed his eyes. His body felt wrecked, but deep down he was strangely satisfied. The helicopter kept flying through the night sky. Suddenly his eyes lit up. Precision leveled up too. His vision must be insane now. LV6 was low-key broken. His eyesight now surpassed normal telescopes. Pair that with Kanglong Force and it's basically a legal cheat. Forget a few hundred meters. Even targets kilometers away were fair game. Next time he meets something like Cockroach Man, no more close combat. Safety level way higher. Just then, Xu Ren called out. Xi Jing new investigation results from South City just came in. The scouting team's devices show contamination has exceeded level 10. He paused and asked, what exactly is contamination rate? Su Ren frowned like she couldn't believe it. What did the outer ring even teach you? She raised both hands to explain. Left hand is our real world. Right hand represents the other realm. When these two worlds collide or overlap, that's when contamination forms. The stronger the overlap, the higher the contamination rate. Minor clashes cause small shockwaves, usually between 1 and 5. But once they truly intersect, it jumps to 10 to 30, and even the laws of physics in that area start to distort. At that point, creatures from the other world could fully enter reality. Xi Jing immediately asks if that's how the intersecting zone forms, but Xu Ren shakes his head, not even close. It only appears when contamination hits 100%, turning the place into a subworld, neither real nor fully otherworldly, and Nan City right now is insanely dangerous. Xi Jing nods seriously, yeah, he gets it now. The moment he returns to the dojo, Shanying explodes. This junior brother is a walking disaster. Every time he comes back, he's covered in injuries, and Qing Qiao even backs her up while squeezing his leg. If he keeps gambling with his life like this, they might just ignore him next time, and Xi Jing can only awkwardly explain it wasn't on purpose. Shanying applies medicine way too hard, calling his excuse nonsense, and Xi Jing instantly yelps in pain. She frowns and scolds him. Good, pain helps you remember. Just look at that bruised arm. Sai Jing coughs and says he had no choice, he was the only one who could stop that cockroach monster. Shanying digs her elbow into his back and he screams again, begging her to go easy. She calmly says endure it, the medicine works better this way. The problem is, at that distance, Shanying's chest is basically right in front of his face. Sai Jing instantly turns his head away, silently admitting Qing Qiao's ki control is way more refined. As the medicine sinks in, the pain fades and a strangely comfortable warmth spreads through him. Right then, Li Qi pushes the door open and calls out to Xi Jing. The whole room turns awkward and Xi Jing quickly greets him, master. Li Qi checks his arm and looks shocked. Even with golden scale skin has this injured. Just how strong was that monster? Sai Jing suddenly asks if he knows about the Jinfeng dojo. Li Qi strokes his beard and says the dojo master is Jiao Hongyuan, an old acquaintance from back in the day. Their technique trains fists like blades, claiming bare hands equal weapons, so Li Qi went to test them himself. Turns out when their master lost, the disciples all rushed in, but none could break his golden scale skin. In the end, they were the ones lying on the ground, though he admits the Jinfeng style is still legit. He warns Qi Jing that against Jinfeng, even bare hands should be treated like armed combat, but his golden scale skin naturally counters them. Unless the opponent is overwhelmingly stronger, in that case, no defense really matters, and Xi Jing suddenly recalls Duan Kaiping. Shanying grabs the medicine bottle again and tells him to turn around. Back's done, now the front. Li Qi senses danger and immediately retreats, saying healing consumes too much energy and vanishes. Xi Jing forces a smile and suggests maybe he can handle the rest himself. Shanying holds his shoulder and tells him to relax and leave it to her, while Xi Jing internally panics because, well, he's still a man. Seeing his red face, Shanying bursts out laughing. Wow, junior brother's blushing hard. The medicine spreads across his body, cool and soft, making his head feel light. Sai Jing quickly protests that a certain spot doesn't need medicine, but Qing Qiao's hand is already right at his chest. When she leans down, all he sees is her chest, and he blurts out in panic, please don't experiment with that. Shanying instantly turns red too, calling him out in an embarrassed voice. Even Qing Qiao realizes the situation and jerks her head up, face burning. Sai Jing hurriedly looks away and apologizes, saying it's just a natural reaction. Shanying points at him, asking how they're supposed to apply medicine like this. In the end, they tell him to handle the rest himself, and he just turns away in pure embarrassment. Shanying pulls Qing Qiao out of the room, telling him to handle the rest himself. Watching them leave, Xi Jing just sighs, still not sure if that was accidental or totally on purpose. After circulating his Kai for a while, his whole body still aches and feels numb. Yeah, this time is seriously hurt. Thinking it through, the real issue is he hasn't fully mastered the skill yet. Golden Scale Transfer links force through the entire body, spreading impact across a wider area to reduce pressure. That's the real secret behind Golden Scale Skin's broken defense. No wonder it counters Jinfeng White Rainbow Sword. They focus power on one point, he spreads it everywhere. Damage gets neutralized just like that. Tiden Long style really has no simple moves. He still hasn't fully grasped Blade Fire Spark and One Stream Flow, but that can wait. Right now, recovery is the top priority. The moment Xi Jing steps into the house, he freezes. Huan Er is sitting there in full human form like a teenage girl, casually asking why he's late and if he brought food. His mind goes blank for a few seconds. Wait, she really turned human. Huan Er tilts her head and explains she suddenly gained the ability at noon, but her voice softens. She might have to leave soon. Xi Jing sits across from her, confused, asking why she has to go if things are fine here. She looks at him for a long time and admits staying by his side only drags more danger his way, from Kang to security to the Long sect. Yet living with him has been the only time she felt truly relaxed. Just eating, sleeping, and playing around like a carefree cat. But no matter what, she's still the sect leader of Long sect, and it's time to return. She smiles gently but tears quietly fall. Sai Jing says nothing and just pulls her into a tight hug. If he lets her go just because of danger, then is nothing but useless. Whatever comes next, they'll face it together, and Huan Er's eyes instantly light up. Overjoyed, she throws herself into his arms again. At that exact moment, the system in Xi Jing's head goes crazy, favorability skyrockets, art proficiency explodes, skill jumps straight to level 7. Even he is stunned, this spike is way too abnormal, and a bold guess forms in his mind. He calls Huaner back and says they need to talk seriously. When he explains that stronger emotions increase fusion with the cat-tail ring, she blushes hard, clearly misunderstanding. Saijing panics and clarifies that's not what he meant, his asking if she wants to actively develop this power. Their enemies aren't simple, and against forces like Kanged, any extra strength matters. After a brief pause, Huaner says nothing and pulls him onto the couch, deciding to test it right away, awkward tension everywhere. In the end, they choose to recreate the state from her first fusion. Inside the misty bathroom, their emotions slowly build. When everything settles, the cat-tail ring on Huaner suddenly glows. Saijing immediately senses something different, and the system alerts him that divinity has been detected and is being absorbed. He quickly connects the dots. Fusion is basically accepting power from the foreign god Belater, and where there's a god there's divinity to absorb. Huaner feels the change too and happily says she's much stronger now. But then she panics and apologizes after seeing the scratch she left on his arm. Even normal weapons struggle to hurt him, yet her light touch drew blood. Saijing doesn't care at all and instead urges her to check if she awakened any new abilities. And sure enough, it didn't take long for Huan to unlock a brand new move, sharp light gathering in her palm with an aura that screamed danger. She smirked and called it snake-slaying piercing strike, reminding him that Balater once killed Apep, so anything snake-related gets hard-countered. Saijing instantly frowned, yeah, that didn't sound good. Huan's grin turned sly as she said dragons and snakes aren't that different, meaning even his hidden dragon flow is on her hit list, and the way she called him Little Jing felt both playful and lethal. She lightly tapped his chest, and a weird buzzing sound rang out, making Shi Jing step back in shock. He looked down at himself, thinking, no way does hidden dragon flow actually carry dragon attributes. Shi Jing grabbed her hand and argued back, saying he just cultivates the technique. He's not an actual dragon, so how is that fair? Huan turned away with a small pout, saying gods don't need logic anyway. Then she added with a wicked smile that anything with dragon in the name falls under her suppression, and Shi Jing was just speechless at this broken ability. But suddenly he paused like he just realized something big. He pointed at her and said, if that's true, doesn't that mean you can deal with the dragon sect however you want? And Huan nodded confidently, saying she's no longer under their control and they better not come looking for trouble. She burst into laughter like a massive weight just got lifted off her shoulders. Saijing pinched her cheek and pulled her closer, telling her they'll deal with that later. Huan obediently nodded, back to being all cute and compliant. A while later, Shi Jing lay flat on his bed to rest. He let out a breath and opened the system interface, the fusion with the Cat-tail ring giving him way more divinity than expected. Its value is almost on par with a true divine relic, but what really bothered him was what divinity actually is. If divinity is the power source of divine relics, then absorbing it should weaken the relic. But there was zero change, which reminded him of that mysterious mirror from before. In the end, he shook it off. Upgrading skills matters more right now. The system updated fast. Twin Shadow Flames hit level 3. Next upgrade costs 9 divinity, and Tus now allows revival within 7 days after death with cooldown reduced to 80 days, meaning each level shaves off 10 days, basically inching toward real immortality. On top of that, he unlocked demigod attribute boosts like physique, speed, reflex calculation, and focus, and the sheer options gave him a headache. 3 days later at the Hidden Dragon Dojo, Shi Jing stood in the courtyard training, veins bulging as his arm twisted in a bizarre stance, but his focus never wavered. The next second, he threw a punch that shook the air with pure explosive force. Looking at his hand, Shi Jing exhaled in relief. Boosting body defense was the right call since Hidden Dragon Flow thrives on endurance and burst damage. He kept circulating his force, merging techniques with explosive power into a completely new combo. It stacked like layers of addition, each wave amplifying the next until the final blow hit insanely hard. Right then, Shanying rushed over saying someone wanted to see him. And of course it was Su Ren. The atmosphere instantly tightened when she said this message was for Shi Jing alone. After isolating themselves, Su Ren got straight to it, saying she was just delivering someone else's words. The moment he heard that, Shi Jing knew it had to be Wu Yuqing behind this. Su Ren confirmed and revealed that one of the 6 great financial tycoons, the Extreme Motion Yu family, holds divine relic Gadi 19, the indestructible demon blade. This relic belongs to Yu Jialinglu and its ability is absurd, it can never wear down. Shi Jing gave a faint smile, saying an unbreakable weapon sounds a little too mystical. But Su Ren shut that down, saying it once endured over 10,000-degree heat without a single scratch. Then Su Ren revealed the real goal. Wu Yuqing wants him in the no restriction U19 tournament to win and claim that divine relic. Yu Jialinglu will also compete, and by the rules the champion takes God 519, and Su Ren even teased him, saying if he loves divine relics so much, go grab it yourself. Meanwhile at another dojo, the disciples were buzzing about Shi Jing, the guy who's been crushing opponents non-stop and boosting their dojo's fame. But behind the master's calm face was a deep, icy gaze like he's hiding something way bigger. On the way to Feng City, Shi Jing could only sigh, because joining the Yu Undyne No Limit tournament was something he told only his master. Yet the moment he arrived, the whole squad showed up, and his Loki plan was officially dead. Shanying crossed her arms seriously, saying it's too dangerous for her junior to go alone, so his senior sister Shez here to protect him. Saijing shot her an annoyed look, wondering who exactly is the dangerous one, then turned to Huan Ni and asked if she's tagging along to protect him too. Huan Ni blushed and stammered, saying her fusion with Belider needs long-term maintenance. Saijing narrowed his eyes and asked if she's addicted or something, and she panicked, denying it instantly. Shanji jumped in with a teasing grin, saying wow their relationship is so good she even follows him to tournaments, and Huan Ni snapped back that staying by Shi Jing's side is none of his business. Shanji casually suggested leaving her at a hotel for easier management. Huan Ni immediately flared up, threatening to run away from home if they dared leave her behind. Sai Jing froze for a few seconds, then sighed in defeat. Fine, if you want to go, everyone goes. Cut to a dimly lit tech shop. Shanji slammed the board to get attention and said seriously that with Shi Jing's current strength, has no match for Yu Jialinglu. Si Jing frowned and asked, what level is he then? Shanji said roughly level 3 and Si Jing blinked, asking if that's Feng City's ranking system. Shanji proudly replied no, she made it up herself, and Si Jing was left speechless. She continued, Yu Jialinglu entered at 10, became top disciple 5 years later, then rose to fame 3 years after that, and now is nearly on par with their eldest senior brother, so she asked Shi Jing straight up, can you beat him? After a long pause, Si Jing admitted honestly that in his current state, he'd get crushed. Shanji nodded but said that's not even the main issue. She explained U19 is one of the rare global tournaments allowing real weapons, so weapon strength massively affects the outcome. Not to mention mastery matters too. Then she looked at him and asked, if you had to choose a weapon, what would it be? Sai Jing clenched his fists confidently, saying he needs no weapon, only his fists, and Shanji laughed, asking what if Yu Jialinglu wields something equal to 9 senior brothers combined. Si Jing immediately froze 9 of them. On the board, Shanji had already written sword in hand, 9-fold break. Si Jing went silent because one senior brother is already terrifying, multiply that by 9 and it's basically game over. Just as the mood turned heavy, Shanji suddenly raised a black cloth bundle and laughed, saying here's your savior. The moment Si Jing touched it, he blurted out, it's a blade. Shanji blinked in surprise, asking how he knew. He said the weapon told him itself, and when the cloth came off, a cold gleam flashed out like the blade was calling him. Shanji exhaled in relief, saying looks like you two are fated. This is a sponsored weapon just for U19, and Si Jing quietly asked how much it's worth. Shanji listed dragon bone iron, refined steel stone, moon silk threads, blood amber forged by Master Hijuxi himself, price around 20 million. Si Jing went dead silent, feeling like his entire fortune wouldn't cover one serious swing. He tried a few moves but it felt awkward, too heavy, completely unfamiliar in his hands. Suddenly, a powerful force slammed into the blade out of nowhere. When he turned around, the master had appeared silently and casually threw out a brutally harsh comment. Sai Jing jumped in shock, bowed quickly and asked if anyone in Hidden Dragon Flow actually uses weapons. Li Qi did answer right away, just poured tea onto the ground, and the moment it touched the floor, it carved a deep dent, calmly saying top-tier martial arts all connect. What fists can do, weapons can too. Seeing tea punch a hole in the ground, Si Jing felt a chill. That was just a cup of tea. Li Qi closed his eyes and said in a low voice, time is short, today I'll pass you a killing move. When his aura exploded, Si Jing felt dragged into an endless battlefield filled with sword shadows. Invisible slashes tore through his body, then the scene shifted into a suffocating sea of corpses. When he snapped back to reality, his whole body was trembling, drenched in cold sweat. Li Qi looked at him and asked, did you feel it? Si Jing took a few heavy breaths and answered slowly, that was killing intent. Li Qi raised a finger and explained, Asura blade intent is what happens when motion energy hits the extreme, using pure will to crush the opponent's spirit. Sai Jing frowned and asked the most honest question ever, this still counts as science. Li Qi burst out laughing, saying Hidden Dragon Flow can punch out dragon phantoms. What science are you talking about? Then added if Si Jing wants to use a weapon, he'll teach him Asura blade intent, and that alone is enough to make others wary. He waved his hand and said let's start training now, and Si Jing hesitated, asking who his sparring partner would be and if his master was overestimating him. Li Qi rolled his wheelchair casually and said stop overthinking, Qing Qiao will spar with you. Don't obsess over techniques, just pour all your killing will into the strike. Si Jing nodded, if it's senior sister Meng, there's no need to hold back. With that thought, he swung the blade and charged. But Qing Qiao reacted insanely fast, one simple move and she struck straight at the back of his neck. Si Jing spun instantly and smoothly neutralized her attack. A slight grin appeared on his lips, not enough, let's go again. Watching from outside, Li Qi nodded quietly, this kid was born to wield weapons. At this pace, a few days, maybe 4 and he'll touch the entry level of Asura blade intent. Right then someone rushed in saying people from Golden Wind Dojo are here and it looks like trouble. But before he finished, an arm blocked him. Li Chengxuan stepped in directly, eyes locked on Si Jing, and demanded a life-and-death duel. Sai Jing looked confused and casually asked, who are you? Li Chengxuan introduced himself as a core disciple of Golden Wind Dojo and said if he wins, Si Jing must answer one question. Hearing the name, Si Jing remembered Wu Yuking's list, another one from Golden Wind. Like he stayed calm and said just fight, I've got your back here. Jing nodded, then let's begin. Outside, the place was already in chaos. Rumors spread fast about a 17-year-old who killed a humanoid monster. Some even guessing has the one who crushed rank 1 and rank 9. Li Qi reminded Li Chengxuan to be careful, but he just laughed confidently, saying he's seen plenty of flashy but hollow opponents. He even acted like a senior, saying he's 1 year older and Si Jing can call him Brother Li. Si Jing replied coldly, you sure talk a lot. The moment he finished, his figure vanished, speed so fast it made Li Chengxuan flinch. But then Li Chengxuan smirked like he expected this move. They clashed again and again, each collision shaking the air violently. After a few exchanges, Li Chengxuan realized this opponent is no joke. Sai Jing also admitted inwardly, Golden Wind White Rainbow Sword truly lives up to its name. This isn't machines or monsters, this is real combat between martial artists. The more they fought, the more excited he became. Suddenly Li Chengxuan closed in with a heavy strike, but Si Jing blocked it head-on. Layers of golden scales appeared on his arm like dragon armor. Li Chengxuan's face changed instantly, wait what, at 17 he already forged golden scales. The fight kept heating up, neither side backing down. Li Qi was outside laughing non-stop, while Shan Ying just couldn't accept how fast Si Jing was leveling up. Le Chengxuan started feeling uneasy. The guy tanked hit after hit without even flinching. It felt like punching living steel, and it was getting annoying. Finally, he spotted an opening and prepped the finishing move. On the other side, Xi Jing gathered power ready to unleash twin gold. Then suddenly, a shout cut through the arena. Stop. The two instantly pulled apart. An old man slowly walked in, looked at the wrecked arena, and sighed. This is just a spar, not a death match. Cai Jing turned toward Jinfeng Dojo, voice turning cold. What exactly do you people want? First someone comes demanding a life or death fight. Now another says it's just friendly exchange, don't kill each other. Seriously, can you not get your story straight first? Hong Yuan's eyes immediately narrowed. Meanwhile, Le Qiu burst out laughing, stroking his beard. Yep, that's Fu's disciple, alright. He then looked at Hong Yuan and said, my disciple isn't wrong. One moment you go hard, next moment you play nice. Who can keep up with that? Hong Yuan stayed silent for a long time, glanced at Li Chengxuan, then sighed. He turned to Xi Jing. I heard you're joining the U19 free combat tournament. Let me see what you've got. Shan Ying frowned. Your side started this, and now you still want to fight my junior brother. Hong Yuan ignored him and looked at Xi Jing instead. Kid, what do you think? Cai Jing thought it through. Fighting this man could deepen his grasp of the Jin Feng Bai Hong sword, but he had to stay cautious. Then he remembered his master said this was their territory, and felt a bit more at ease. Xi Jing drew his sword, stepped forward, lowered the tip, and calmly said, please guide me, senior. The moment he finished, he shot forward. Hong Yuan watched and shook his head, still too young. He fought barehanded, dodging every incoming slash. But suddenly a streak of sword ki grazed his shoulder, making him pause. Hong Yuan narrowed his eyes. This kid's weapon talent is no joke. At that moment, the system kept pinging in Xi Jing's head. Weapon Mastery Level 1 unlocked, progress surging from real combat. He instantly understood, only by facing true powerhouses can he grow this fast, so he smirked, senior, let's go again. Hong Yuan shook his head helplessly. Forget it, I still need to take this disciple back for treatment. Le Chengxuan didn't even get to speak before being dragged away, eyes full of resentment. Cai Jing looked at him and said calmly, Li Chengxuan, see you on the arena stage, and next time, don't underestimate your opponent. Shan Ying couldn't help but sigh. Junior brother, you actually forced him back just now. But Cai Jing shook his head. I just told the truth. He analyzed further. Li Chengxuan was already injured earlier. He just hit it well. His real strength isn't below mine at all. Elsewhere, Le Qiu looked at the blade and calmly said, bring me that saber, his gaze deepening. This kid's value keeps rising. Suddenly, the space around Cai Jing twisted, killing intent erupting like an invisible vortex. He immediately recognized that familiar feeling. It was the Asura saber intent again. Cai Jing's hand trembled slightly, a thought flashing through his mind. To comprehend this, he had to face pure death intent head-on. Two streams of sword intent clashed violently, neither backing down, the pressure almost crushing the space itself. Shan Ying frowned. It's been 3 minutes? What are they even doing? Fu Guang replied, they're fighting on the spiritual level. Shan Ying was shocked. What? Li Qiu then explained in a low voice, to break killing intent, you need even stronger killing intent to suppress it. Right after that, he swung his sword, and the Asura saber intent fully erupted. Inside Cai Jing's mind, the system went crazy. Weapon mastery, visualization, body conditioning, and Dragon Seal Force all surged, and Asura saber intent officially hit level 1. Everyone around finally realized, this junior brother has already surpassed the limits of a normal genius. The scene cuts away, Hong Yuan sternly scolding Li Chengxuan for causing trouble right before the tournament. Li Chengxuan lowered his head and brought up senior brother Kai Ping's death. He couldn't just pretend he never knew, so he went to confront Xi Jing himself. Hong Yuan stayed silent for a long time, then placed a hand on his head, voice softening, win the U19 championship, and he'll tell you the whole truth. Li Chengxuan clenched his fists, tears falling quietly, but his eyes grew even more determined. Meanwhile, Xi Jing stood alone in a quiet forest, wind brushing through the leaves in a long, hollow echo. Faces of past opponents flashed in his mind, their moves, their killing intent, all replaying like memories being dragged back to life. Suddenly, Xi Jing's eyes snapped open and his figure vanished. One sweeping slash, and the monster in the illusion was torn apart instantly. He didn't stop. The second strike shot forward, aimed at the blurry image of Li Chengxuan in his mindscape. Then every other enemy was crushed by sword intent. His blade grew faster and heavier, like all his battle spirit and killing intent were compressed into a single point. The system pinned nonstop during saber training. You comprehended Asura true intent, weapon mastery plus 667 upgraded to level 3, progress 290 out of 800. Cai Jing froze for a second, then slowly exhaled. No real combat in the gains are this insane. Enlightenment really makes no sense. He even thought, if I could grow like this every day, why risk my life outside, just go into seclusion and speedrun the peak. But soon his gaze darkened, because the Asura path was still a road of absolute slaughter. At its core, it feeds on killing, and doesn't really give you the option not to kill. Cai Jing didn't want a future where his sword points at the people he cares about. Seems like later he'll need visualization to stabilize this dangerous intent, and right as he was thinking, his phone suddenly vibrated and Xi Jing casually answered. The scene shifted to a massive building with a giant billboard towering in front. Jiang Sui smiled and introduced herself. From today on, she'll handle all his U19 procedures, then led him to register. As they walked, Xi Jing scanned the area, his eyes stopping at the posters covering the walls, listing past champions. He suddenly paused at one named Suzuka Otogi. He immediately asked about him, and Jiang Sui explained, last year's champion, and directly seeded into this year's finals. His photo was there too, Suzuka Otogi, third heir of the Otogi Zabatsu, and the orthodox successor of Soso Ryu. Soso Ryu? Jiang Sui nodded and explained, the school traces back to the Eastern war god Sakano Tamuramaru. The Otogi clan are his direct descendants, later founding the Soso Ryu sword style. The style is famous for insane speed. At its peak, they say it can unleash 1,000 slashes in 1 second. Saijing went silent 1 second, 1,000 blades. He closed his eyes and imagined it. Yeah, just thinking about it feels suffocating. But soon his eyes flared with resolve. If he combines twin speed with dynamic vision, maybe he can keep up. Jiang Sui watched his reaction, slightly stunned. This kid just heard Audage's name and already started planning counters. That kind of drive is scary. She laughed and encouraged him. Do your best. Maybe one day you'll surpass him. Qi Jing nodded in thanks, but thought she might misunderstood something. The two continued deeper into the registration area. Jiang Sui explained the rules as they walked. Once he signs the contract, he officially becomes a tournament athlete. The Dayu is crazy generous, 180,000 a month, full prize money goes to the athlete, and the company covers taxes and benefits. As he signed, Xi Jing couldn't help but think, the organizers really aren't holding back on the budget. Jiang Sui then explained special U19 rules. If you meet someone way above your level, you can temporarily withdraw, and you won't be eliminated immediately. There's also a revival system, survive till the end, and you still get a shot at the championship. After hearing the rules, Xi Jing started calculating. If he plays it safe and withdraws early, it's definitely safer. But if everyone thinks like that, the revival round will turn into absolute chaos. In the end, he shook his head, better to push forward head-on. Leaving the building, Xi Jing walked along the coast, waves reflecting in the wind, still thinking about Otogi Suzuka, crazy fast and insanely skilled, not someone you can look down on. Just then, mocking laughter echoed ahead. A few guys were surrounding a girl, bragging about becoming future U19 fighters. They even promised money and fame if she followed them, already dreaming about the championship. Xi Jing glanced once, his eyes instantly turning cold with that level, and they want U19. But at that moment, a faint glow appeared around him, like something in his consciousness had awakened. He paused, his expression shifting, a strange familiar feeling surfacing in his mind. He stared at the girl and muttered, wait, that can't be. He quickly realized it was Xu Fan, this body's cousin. In his memories, she was dazzling, pretty lively, school beauty since forever, top-tier grades too. But under that perfect image, she was completely off-script, absolutely addicted to oversleeping. In games she played dirty tactics, and even used his name to scam people before. Yeah, unforgivable. Once she even pointed at the sky calling airplanes, then said whoever bought her lunch could get introduced to her handsome little brother. The weirdest part, whenever danger came, she handled it in ways no one could predict. Right then, spikes suddenly shot up from the ground and wrapped around one guy's wrist. His attack got twisted off course, dragging the guy next to him straight into him. The result? Those two ended up lip-to-lip in the most awkward scene possible. Xu Fan stood outside clapping and laughing like she just watched peak entertainment. She even teased them, saying this was the most memorable moment of their lives, so smile nicely. The two guys instantly started gagging. Meanwhile, Xu Fan was laughing so hard she could barely stand. Then she walked over and raised a brow. What are you staring at? But once she saw his face clearly, her eyes lit up. Xiao Jing, what are you doing in Feng City? It's been a year and you got taller. Your face changed too, did you get a glow-up? She poked him while talking. Cai Jing quickly grabbed her hand. Alright, that's enough, I just want to know what that move was. Xu Fan immediately played dumb like she had no idea what he meant. But inside, Xi Jing was sure she's pretending again. She leaned closer and asked what he was doing in Feng City. He hesitated a bit, then said he came to join a martial arts tournament. She instantly got mad, something this big and you didn't tell your sister first. Xi Jing could only give an awkward smile. But soon Xu Fan sighed. She never thought her little brother would choose this path, fighting others all the time. She couldn't feel at ease. Cai Jing calmly replied, once I decide I keep walking and right now I'm not weak. Xu Fan pouted, how strong? Let's test it. She pointed at the distant lighthouse and suggested a race, first one there wins. If Xi Jing wins, she'll stop interfering with his training. Hearing it was just running, Xi Jing agreed instantly. The two quickly lined up at the start. The moment it began, Xi Jing exploded with twin speed and shot forward like the wind. But suddenly, strange tree trunks burst from the ground ahead, blocking his path. Cai Jing tilted his body to dodge. In his mind, only one thought, of course Shed pull something. Behind him, Xu Fan ran while laughing and even waved, cheering him on. Branches kept sprouting to block him, constantly breaking his rhythm. But soon he figured out the pattern and dashed straight through the gaps, his gaze sharpening. Xu Fan even clapped and declared the match basically over. But Xi Jing suddenly burst with even greater force, charging like a dragon breaking through waves. Xu Fan paused slightly, surprise flashing in her eyes. After a while they both stopped, Xi Jing breathing heavily from the massive energy drain. Xu Fan walked over smiling, not bad move just now, but you still lost, dear little brother. Cai Jing stared at her, what exactly did you just use? She tilted her head and laughed, if you could really understand it, that'd be nice. I was chosen by an existence called Lord Tian Hong Wanyan. Hearing that name, Xi Jing froze. That sounds way too much like an evil god. Is this connected to divine relics? Xu Fan saw his reaction and burst out laughing. Relax, I'm kidding, then instantly switched the topic to food. In the end, she decided to head straight to his hotel and grab something to eat. Meanwhile at the hotel, Huang Ni was getting impatient. Why isn't he back yet? Did he seriously go on a date? The door opened. Xu Fan scanned the room and asked, this your room? Xi Jing casually replied, you can stay here tonight. The moment he said that, the room temperature dropped to 0. Huang Ni shot up, eyes practically on fire. Before they even stepped in, a killing intense scream rang out, Xi Jing. He panicked instantly. Huang Ni, listen to me, it's not what you think. His voice was clearly rushed, actually shiz. But Xu Fan suddenly wrapped an arm around him and smiled. Xiao Jing, who's this little girl? Why is she in your house? Xi Jing almost collapsed. Here we go again. Huang Ni pointed at them, furious. Xi Jing, what exactly is your relationship? Xu Fan chimed in teasingly, do you even need to ask? Then dragged it out, Xiao Jing, how long are we standing outside? Xi Jing wanted to faint, this cousin really lives for chaos. She kept urging, come on, let's go inside. Xi Jing hurried to explain, Huang Ni, calm down, she's really my sister. But right then, Xu Fan suddenly covered his mouth. She corrected him on purpose, sister what? Did I tell you to call me Xiao Wan? Xi Jing's brain short-circuited, okay this is bad. He struggled to explain again, Huang Ni, it's really not like that, she's my cousin. Xu Fan smoothly added, call me whatever you like, can we go in first? At that exact moment, Huang Ni grabbed Xi Jing's shirt. She shouted, Xi Jing, if you take one more step with her, don't ever see me again. Xu Fan finally realized things went too far, oh maybe I overdid it. Xi Jing's face darkened, if you don't explain this clearly today, don't expect to return to school peacefully. Hearing that, Xu Fan instantly switched gears, oh right, let me borrow the bathroom first. After a while, Huang Ni finally understood and sighed in relief, so she really is your sister. Xi Jing held his forehead, remembering her words, don't worry, I'm his real sister, want me to tell you about the time you wet the bed at 10. Just thinking about it made him cringe, only she could spread rumors like that with a straight face. Huang Ni asked curiously, I heard your sister studies in Feng City, which school is she in? Xi Jing replied, I'm not really sure, why are you asking? Huang Ni hesitated, it's nothing, I just feel a very strange scent from her. Xi Jing blinked, she cares a lot about her image, no way she skips showers. Huang Ni immediately snapped, that's not what I meant. She continued seriously, I'm sure I've smelled that aura somewhere before. Xi Jing thought for a moment, could it be related to plants? Huang Ni's eyes widened, that's it, I remember now. Her voice turned firm, it's the aura of the Flower God sect. She explained, back when I was leader of the Dragon sect, the Flower God sect once tried to propose an alliance. Xi Jing frowned, different beliefs and they still wanted to cooperate. Shouldn't they be rivals? Huang Ni nodded, I thought the same. After we refused, someone from the Flower God sect took out a potted plant. Xi Jing blinked, a plant. She continued, the scary part wasn't the pot, it was what that woman did next. She only whispered a few incantations, and that plant instantly became something else. The person in charge examined it thoroughly on the spot. The final result shocked everyone, that item really transformed into a divine relic. Xi Jing's expression changed instantly, something like that is actually possible. Huang Ni sighed, but it's true. After we refused the alliance, the Flower God sect took the pot away and disappeared. But the scent on your sister is exactly like that woman back then. Xi Jing fell into deep thought. Could this be related to Lord Tianhongwanyan? Huang Ni softly called, Xiao Jing. She continued slowly, if one day I'm no longer myself, will you still call me sister? Xi Jing silently thought, maybe Wu Yuqing knows more about this. Right then, heavy footsteps echoed outside, and yeah, whoever's coming isn't friendly. Xi Jing immediately shouted, Huang Ni, she's in the shower, call her and leave first. Huang Ni blushed awkwardly, my transformation time is almost here. Xi Jing facepalmed, fine, I'll go. He had planned to deepen his fusion with Huang Ni tonight, but his cousin just wrecked the entire schedule. He rushed to knock on the bathroom door, sis, something's happening outside, hurry up. The footsteps downstairs grew heavier and closer. Xi Jing realized they were almost here. Xu Fan, open up, are you diff? A thought flashed, do I have to break in? She looks carefree but she's serious about privacy. After today I'm probably dead, but better get beaten later than let someone storm in while she's changing. Xi Jing pushed the door open and shouted, sis, something's about to go down, you and Huang Ni. But all he saw was thick steam, not a single person inside. He froze, where did she go? Visualization activated instantly. The replay appeared in his mind. Xu Fan slipped away not long after entering. Suddenly a massive explosion erupted outside, shaking the entire space. The blast snapped Xi Jing's focus back. The scene shifted to Feng City University. A cold female voice echoed, is this about your family again? Xu Fan narrowed her eyes slightly, is there a problem? Tianwei said calmly, you were chosen by Lord Tianhongwanyan, yet you still cling to meaningless mortal bonds. Xu Fan replied evenly, teacher, we're just vessels of power, not true gods, I'm still human. She added, besides my little brother started martial arts recently, his talent's not bad, maybe he'll become a martial prodigy. Hearing that, Tianwei's face turned visibly displeased. She said coldly, martial arts are just mortals forcing their way toward godhood, but human lifespan is limited. If you really can't cut ties with that mortal brother of yours, then let him serve Lord Tianhongwanyan too. Maybe he'll receive the true god's blessing and ascend alongside you. Xu Fan frowned, teacher, forgive my disrespect. At that instant, countless mutated mushrooms began spreading around them. Her voice turned icy, do not touch my brother. Tianwei laughed with interest, how surprising, first time I've seen you like this. Much cuter than that fake cheerful mask. But soon her gaze turned vicious, too bad you're too late. Back to Xi Jing, he rushed outside while shouting Huang Ni's name. His eyes gleamed sharp. Suddenly, a streak of energy shot straight toward him. He reacted instantly and grabbed it midair. The system alerted, divine substance detected. Xi Jing paused, a divine relic and plant type. He casually tossed it aside. Xi Jing said coldly, system absorbing divinity progress 57 out of 300. You're from the Flower God Society, aren't you? Titi sneered, seems like you know quite a bit. She tempted him, join the Flower God Society, embrace Lord Tianhongwanyan, feel the love of the Great Mother. As the system showed absorption progress rising to 157 out of 300, Xi Jing thought calmly. So they came all this way just to recruit me, but rejecting them outright right now isn't smart. You dragged this out on purpose, then acted confused. Bro, is your brain broken? Titi snapped instantly, only someone who controls Tianhongwanyan can lead humanity. You have no choice but to join us. Meanwhile, the system kept absorbing divinity. Progress hit 239 out of 300. Xi Jing analyzed quietly. His sister once mentioned Tianhongwanyan before. Pieces started clicking. He switched tone fast. So what do I get if I join? In his head, he was already planning to use Shadow Flame to control her and dig info about Xu Fan. Titi suddenly looked shocked. Wait, you're also someone who received a blessing. Saijing thought to himself. She recognized Shadow Flame at a glance. Guess this thing is more famous than I thought. Titty kept persuading him. If you're blessed, you know how rare that is. Join us and you'll gain plant manipulation, plus a blessing ritual to reshape your body however you want. Saijing let out a cold laugh. Your blessing ritual probably has a terrible success rate, huh? Titty clenched her fist instantly. But someone behind her reminded her to focus on the mission. She could only reply, understood. She admitted it. The ritual isn't perfected yet. They can receive power, but not fully obtain external blessings. Then the system popped up. Shadow Flame level 2 requires 300 divinity to upgrade. Shijing immediately knew. It worked. Notifications flooded in. Control range plus 20. Can cling to any material surface. Slow effect plus 10. Adhesion rate up 100%. Saijing cut her off. No need to continue. I refuse. Inside, he was grinning. Shadow Flame just got a serious buff. Thinking about it, this ability is perfect for tactical plays. Titus' voice turned confused and annoyed. Saijing shrugged calmly. I'm still young, and I was born rebellious. I enjoy doing the exact opposite of what people want. Wait a few decades, maybe you'll reconsider. Saijing quickly guessed the Flower God Society finding him was tied to his sister. But why did she leave? Either way, he could stay here any longer. Titi unleashed her magic power. The air turned crushing. She apologized coldly. Her mission was to bring him back. If Saijing kept resisting, she would use force. As he kept dodging, Shijing realized recruiting him was never a random idea. They planned this. He immediately shouted for Horner to hold onto him tight. His eyes turned sharp, scanning everything around him. Then, without hesitation, he dashed straight out the window. Titty froze. Wait, what? This is the 32nd floor and he just jumped. Saijing forced himself to stay calm, focusing hard to latch Shadow Flame onto the wall. He even fired out a layer of special adhesive substance onto the glass. Even he had to admit the wall was smooth as hell, yet he stuck without shaking. That's insane. The only problem is control wasn't stable yet. To maintain it, he had to pour in total concentration. One slip in focus and it'd fall straight down. Right then, a familiar voice called out, "Junior brother." Shanying stared in shock. How did he even climb down from that height? The girl beside her instantly sensed something was wrong. Shanying rushed over and told Shijing to follow her quickly. Titi chased after them, yelling for them to stop. But in order to retreat rang in her ear. She stopped, exhaled, and replied understood. The scene shifted to another location inside a surveillance room. Shuwan finally relaxed and let out a breath. Tianwei walked over, clearly intrigued. Didn't expect your little brother to be blessed too. Looks like we missed something in our investigation. She was curious which outer god was backing him. But from her observation, that god currently had no intention of harming Shijing. Shuwan's face darkened. What if one day that thing threatens my brother? Tianwei wrapped her arms around her and said firmly, if that day comes, the entire Flower God Society will stand with you and wipe it out without hesitation. The supreme ruler of Tianhongwan. Meanwhile, the car kept speeding down the long highway. Shanying finally asked Shijing what exactly happened and who was chasing him. Shijing explained someone smashed through his wall while he was resting and attacked without a word. He didn't want to wreck the hotel, so he jumped. Yeah, insane move. The girl smacked him furious. Do you know how dangerous that was? Saijing Winston kept apologizing to Six's senior sister. Then she suddenly realized something and froze. Don't tell me that was someone from the Flower God Society. Saijing nodded. They wanted him to become one of their blessed members. Shanying's expression darkened. So the thing they feared finally happened. Saijing asked in surprise, did you two already know they'd come for me? Shanying laughed. We're not prophets, Master just mentioned it before. Master said the stronger you get, the more factions will fight to recruit you. That's why we were told to protect you more carefully. But she made it clear they were never secretly spying on him. Thinking back, Saijing realized it made sense. Even Wu Yuqing tried to recruit him the moment they met. He asked if Master left any other instructions. The Flower God Society definitely won't give up easily. Shanying looked a little embarrassed. Master told you to move into my house. Saijing nearly choked. He knew Six's senior sister was rich. He didn't know she owned property in Feng City. He worried clashing with the Flower God Society might drag her family in. Shanying blinked. They don't have the guts to touch my home. Suddenly, the car braked hard and stopped. She smiled, we're home. Saijing froze on the spot. Only now did he realize she was a top-tier rich queen. That 20 million blade gift wasn't bragging. It was real. Painfully real. Saijing asked why someone this wealthy would go to Qing City. Shanying innocently said it was more like experiencing life, though the way he said it sounded weird. She explained that before passing away, her father said Qing City was the family's rising land, so all the siblings had to stay there for a while. And strangely it worked. Since arriving, everyone met powerful benefactors. She even became a disciple of Long Luli Qi. This place clearly had special fortune. Saijing connected the dots. Calling Qing City a land of rising dragons was no joke. A small city producing monsters nonstop. That's Dragon Tager territory. Even without knowing exact power levels, Wu Yuqing was no ordinary figure. And there was Ning Fengwang of the Dragon Sect, the incarnation of Baster. The more Saijing thought about it, the more uneasy he felt. If these forces set their eyes on him, what would his future even look like? Right then, Shanying said they'd arrived at the training room. Seeing the entire complex ahead, Shijing's jaw dropped. This is just a training room. Shanying acted like it was normal. She explained the place was built extremely sturdy. He could go all out without worry. For basic techniques, the backyard was better, spacious and open. And if that's still not enough. Before she finished, Saijing grabbed her hands excitedly and thanked her nonstop. For him, this was more than enough. The sudden gesture made her face turn bright red. Flustered, Shanying quickly pulled away. She said she and senior sister Meng would rest first and told him to sleep early. She'd come wake him for breakfast. Horner looked around and casually asked, are we being sponsored by Six's senior sister now? Saijing blushed hard. Honestly, it kind of felt that way. Right then, a strange noise echoed from outside. Horner noticed his gloomy face and asked what was bothering him. Saijing hesitated, then asked if an outer god's blessed could only ever be one person. Honor was surprised. Normally, yeah, that's how it works. Why are you suddenly thinking about that? After a few seconds, she guessed it. You're worried about your sister, aren't you? Saijing nodded. If there's only one blessed, then why did that woman claim the same title and try to recruit me? The more he thought about it, the less it made sense. But one thing was certain. If they dared hurt his sister even a little, there would be no turning back. Honor spoke seriously. Just do what you believe is right. No matter what, I'm on your side. At that exact moment, Shijing's phone suddenly rang. He figured the Flower God Society was labeled a cult by the government, and since Baya worked for them, they must have intel. After changing locations, he passed an area full of provocatively dressed girls pulling customers in. He couldn't help complaining. Baya's taste is wild. A base in a place like this. But Voidblade's location pinned here, so it had to be right. Another message popped up. Once inside, ring the counterbell in a 3-on rhythm. Someone will guide you. The receptionist looked at him and muttered that Baya's blessed were getting more and more brazen lately. Saijing felt confused. It's just a meeting. Why all the spy movie drama? Technically, Baya was government-backed, yet they operated like a shady cult. Standing before the door, he even wondered if there was a trap inside. In the end, Saijing pushed the door open anyway. After observing carefully, he realized it was simply a hidden base. At this point, even he wondered what terrifying thing he was expecting. Su Ren walked out and asked what he wanted to investigate about the Flower God Society. Personnel, territory, movement routes. She could provide it all. Saijing answered without hesitation, I want everything, especially their activity in Feng City over the last 3 days. Su Ren narrowed her eyes. Did they anger you? Saijing didn't deny it. His next move depended on her intel. Su Ren said if he wanted information, he had to help her with something first. Saijing instantly got cautious. For a second, he thought she was about to make him commit a crime or sacrifice something. Yeah, sounded sketchy. Su Ren looked at him with pure disdain. Relax, it's legitimate work. No harm involved. Hearing that, Saijing agreed to listen. Su Ren explained the Flower God Society was an outer god cult active in Feng City. They worship the Lord of Tianhongwanyan. The leader is a woman around 35, but her true identity remains unknown. More importantly, they've been hunting your sister lately. There's a high chance Xuan is already in their hands. Hearing that, Saijing clenched his fists, just as he suspected. Su Ren continued. Xuan was one of their key surveillance targets. Through her, Baya extracted plenty of secrets about the Flower God Society. Saijing flared up. You knew she was my sister and still just watched. Su Ren shook her head. It's not that we didn't want to save her. We simply couldn't intervene. That's the biggest problem with the Flower God Society. Saijing frowned, not understanding what she meant. Su Ren finally explained. Most outer god cults have only one blessed, so even if ignored, the damage is limited. But the Flower God Society is different. Every single member is blessed. That's what makes them abnormal. Saijing's eyes widened. You're saying all of them are like that? Su Ren nodded. The moment they're cut off from the Lord of Tianhongwanyan's power, their bodies lose control and they die instantly. She apologized for using this method to track the Flower God Society, but it's the only option right now. She promised that once they locate the site of worship, rescuing Xuan will be their top priority. Hearing that, Saijing lowered his tone and admitted he overreacted. If there's anything needed to deal with the Flower God Society, he's in. Seeing his shift in attitude, Su Ren got straight to the point. 3 days ago, a new Star Realm zone appeared in the northern area of City No. 5. Baya immediately sent a team to contain the contamination, but they couldn't enter at all. Saijing frowned. Can't enter? A barrier or something? Su Ren shook her head, not exactly. The area fused with another world. The laws of physics inside are completely distorted. Gravity shifts randomly. Time speeds up and slows down. Normal people can't adapt. It wasn't until yesterday that Baya confirmed the entry conditions. The first requirement flashed on screen. Biological age under 18. Shijing guessed natural organism meant someone without body modification. Su Ren said not entirely. Anyone with parasitic entities, banned drug usage, or surgical enhancements is disqualified. Now Shijing understood why they came to him. His task was simple. Bring a device inside and place it somewhere hidden. Still, he asked, is there really no one else? Su Ren lowered her head awkwardly. There are others, but their relationship with that department isn't great. Shijing instantly got it. So this was about pride. After a few seconds, Shijing suddenly turned to leave. He thanked her for the info but refused. He's just a normal guy and a competition is coming up. This mission sounds dangerous. Su Ren stood up and stopped him with a killer line. Don't you want a miracle relic? She said her superiors approved advancing his reward. Then she took out God 508, the 100-foot star spark. She knew he could assimilate miracle relics. He understood its value. The moment he saw it, Saijing's fist tightened unconsciously. He knew exactly how insane these items were. Just a Ben alone boosted his training efficiency like crazy. Add the 100-foot star spark, his power would explode. The temptation was overwhelming, and with his sister's situation, he'd still need Baya's help. At that point, there was no reason to back down. Saijing immediately changed tone. So when do we leave? Tonight, Su Ren replied. No problem, he said. Just let me go home and inform them first. Then Su Ren remembered something else. Wu Yuqing asked her to pass to him. Saijing had no idea why Wu Yuqing gave him this. Su Ren only knew she said he would need it. After receiving it, Saijing prepared to leave, saying he'd return in an hour. The scene shifted back to Shan Ying's estate. Saijing held up the glasses, studying them carefully. They looked almost identical to the standard God 1280 model. He couldn't figure out Wu Yuqing's intention. For a second, he thought maybe it was just another low-profile item that reduced attention. But the moment he put them on, he froze. In an instant, Shijing was pulled into a completely different space. He looked around in confusion, having no clue what was happening. Then Wu Yuqing's voice echoed through the entire space. Saijing called her name in shock. Wu Yuqing responded calmly, like she'd been waiting. She explained the glasses were called God 1285 Fant. The figure before him was only a recorded consciousness projection. That's when Shi Jing finally understood. Wu Yuqing smiled and said she was genuinely happy he accepted the mission. Jing immediately grew cautious. How do you know I accepted? Have you been watching me this whole time? Wu Yuqing didn't answer directly. She stepped forward, patted his head, and asked instead, have you ever wondered why Shiren chose only you? And why the entry condition just happens to require under 18 and a natural organism? The more he listened, the more confused Jing became. He had no idea what she was implying. Wu Yuqing finally revealed the truth. The star realm below is waiting for you. There's a special condition inside, and it belongs to Jing alone. Back to Jing, he asked what exactly was meant for him. Wu Yuqing said she only sensed an extremely powerful miracle relic. Even she couldn't define its true nature. But she made one thing clear. She's not the only one targeting it. Jing frowned. He knew she didn't pull him here just to speak in riddles. Wu Yuqing denied that and said her real purpose was to teach him the correct way to use the 100-foot star spark. Jing looked at the relic in his hand. Isn't it just a training booster that doubles efficiency? Wu Yuqing shook her head. That's surface-level data from the archives. Its true function is to refine talent. According to her, talent counts as a passive skill, just like her own ability to sense miracle relics. Jing's mind raced. If talent itself could be upgraded, the results would be terrifying. Wu Yuqing warned him to be careful once he enters that star realm. Then her body slowly faded away. Jing hurriedly called out. She still had to explain the exact usage method. In the blink of an eye, he was back in his room, so he really exited. He thought fast. If the system panel skills can evolve, then Shura Blade Intent and Weapon Mastery should evolve too. He took off the glasses and decided to test it. Jing closed his eyes and began visualizing Shura Execution, the blade intent born from destiny. In his understanding, those fated to die must die. Yet above Shura Blade Intent exists a higher state called Heaven's Will Blade. Suddenly, the system popped up. Special power detected. Qualification for specialization met. Jing confirmed immediately. Specialization successful. He felt the shift in his mind. Everything he visualized before was just a tiny fragment of the full skill. Then agony hit without warning. Jing almost lost control. Old memories flooded in at once. His head felt like it would explode. His body felt torn apart. A golden light engulfed him. He panicked. Why is he here again? He already removed the glasses. Golden particles floated around him. Confusing at first, but then he sensed something was off. Those lights felt like parts of his own body. Did upgrading just tear him apart? Just one level up and his body felt ready to shatter. Unreal. Still, he told himself if he could return to his original position, everything might stabilize. But he couldn't go back. In that moment, Jing forced himself to calm down. He guessed the upgraded visualization could anchor his consciousness. So he kept reminding himself, my name is Jing, 18 years old. Studied at Qing City High but neglected school for martial arts. He recalled his friends on the martial path. Life was better now. But then he realized that was just an outer identity. His soul came from another world, and he carried a system. Martial arts or power didn't matter. His true goal was simple. Never live a miserable life again. The moment the thought solidified, he felt himself snap back. His body felt lighter. Even controlling force became smoother than ever. He checked quickly. Internal force now flowed through all 4 limbs. He could even move his hair like it was part of his body. Curious, he tried applying it to another object. He focused on the item ahead. His whole body trembled slightly. The object lifted into the air. Jing's eyes lit up. It worked. He couldn't help laughing. Visualization foundation. Nah, this is straight up superpower. Just then, someone called his name. Huanni rubs her eyes, confused. Didn't Jing say he had urgent business? Why is he still here? Jing shoots her a sharp look instantly. And boom, he suddenly sees Huanni's true form. A literal cat. Somehow, he can now see her real body. Right then, the system pops up. Someone just developed worship faith toward him. Jing is like, what the hell is worship faith? Before he can think it through, his phone starts ringing. Su Ren calls, saying it's time to move and she's waiting outside. Jing answers and heads out. Before leaving, he turns to Huanni. Tells her to stay put and wait for him like a good girl. He packs up fast and walks straight out of the villa. The door shuts. Huanni just stands there frozen. A strange feeling rises in her chest. She can't even explain it. It was clearly Jing, but that pressure felt like facing a god.
Yeah, normal.
The next morning, a helicopter flies over a barren wasteland. Su Ren hands Jing a device. All data about the border zone is synced inside. Study it now. The system loads info on border zone R278. Looks manageable on the surface. But if Wu Yuqing was right, something way scarier is hiding inside. Jing suddenly says he has one request before the mission starts. Su Ren tells him to spit it out. He says calmly if he dies, they must return his body to Qing City within 7 days. Su Ren is confused and asks why. Jing snaps back. 7 days, isn't that obvious? She still doesn't get it, but agrees to report the request to her superiors. In his mind, Jing calculates. Twin ability is his final insurance. As long as the body leaves the zone, he can revive in the real world. No corpse issues. The helicopter starts descending. Shu Ren says they can't go further. The gravity ahead is chaotic. Fly deeper and they crash. Jing looks out the window. Someone is standing below. And yeah, that person is clearly waiting for them. One glance at the wrist and Jing recognizes him. Ning Yuantai. Su Ren sighs. The most troublesome department is Juji. Elite martial artists only. And Ning Yuantai is their top young genius. God 508 100-foot star was meant for him. But Baya took it first. Jing narrows his eyes. This guy came all the way here. Not worried about department politics. Su Ren gives a bitter smile. Ning Yuantai is infamous for being arrogant and bullying others. Nobody wants to mess with him. Jing makes it clear. Don't drag him into internal resource fights. He just wants to finish the mission and enter the Star Realm land. Shu Ren sighs. It won't be that simple. Suddenly, a figure jumps straight down from the hovering helicopter. Ning Yuantai shouts Jing's name, full of provocation. He wants to settle this right now. As they land, Shu Ren quickly steps in to stop them. She reminds Ning Yuantai that no matter the backing, a martial artist walks forward with personal strength. She tries to mediate. The mission comes first. Can this wait? Ning Yuantai shuts it down immediately. No delay. Not happening. Xu Jing brushes his hand away, voice cold. What exactly is their relationship? Why is this guy so obsessed? Cracking his knuckles, Ning Yuantai says the higher-ups giving 100-foot star to Xu Jing means they think is better. He refuses to accept that. If Xu Jing wants the divine relic, then prove it by beating him. Xu Jing points at him, then asks Shu Ren if this guy hit his head or something. She just sighs. Let's just say he's sick. Xu Jing drops his backpack and agrees to fight, but makes it clear. Don't delay his entry into the Star Realm land. He wants this done fast. No need to escalate things with Ju Ji's backing. Ning Yuantai lights up instantly. Finally, a chance to show what he's got. Xu Jing locks eyes on him and dashes forward. One clean punch. Ning Yuantai goes down. Just like that. Xu Jing dusts himself off and asks if he can leave now. Top genius. That was disappointing. The pilot gets nervous and asks Shu Ren if they should stop this. If young Master Ning gets wrecked too hard, they're all dead when they get back. Su Ren stays calm. She knows Ning Yuantai isn't that weak. If he came here, he came prepared. In her eyes, Xu Jing winning this easily. Not happening. And sure enough, Xu Jing senses something off. He quickly realizes Ning Yuantai carries an aberrant body, a special branch, and it looks weird as hell. Not knowing its true power, Xu Jing decides to test it head-on. He steps in and throws a full-force punch. The moment they clash, his pupils shrink. A terrifying force blasts him backward several meters. Even as shocked, Ning Yuantai grins proudly. This is the power of the volcano aberrant body, so scared yet. Xu Jing scoffs internally. So it's a force martial body form with forbidden drugs and twin speed. Figures. But then Ning Yuantai's expression changes instead. Somehow Xu Jing is already behind him, casually asking if he's running a fever or something. In Xu Jing's view, the move was too rigid. After the recoil, Ning Yuantai couldn't adapt smoothly. That Druj-enhanced force is hard to control precisely. Ning Yuantai explodes in anger, feeling completely humiliated. Xu Jing just shrugs, his only stating facts. That line hits straight at Ning Yuantai's pride. His face turns red instantly. And then things get even crazier. Ning Yuantai's eyes suddenly shine like he found an idol. He rushes over, calling him Brother Xu, and asks for guidance. Xu Jing just freezes. What is wrong with this guy? After the fight, the system pops up. His mental state is perfectly relaxed. Someone has developed worship toward him again. Hidden Dragon Force gains 332 EXP, Combat Experience 369. And now a new effect unlocks. Stare at a target long enough, and you can turn them into a believer. Xu Jing is speechless. What kind of broken ability is this? But thinking about it, this effect is way too eye-catching, making people overly enthusiastic on first meeting. That's just asking for trouble. Ning Yuantai suddenly seems to realize something and stops in place. He scratches his head awkwardly, says he forgot Xu Jing has a mission, and backs off. Xu Jing sighs inside. The faith is already formed. Not easy to reverse. He'll have to be more careful. Su Ren watches in confusion. No idea what just happened for Ning Yuantai to leave so fast. Xu Jing just says he doesn't know either. She hands him a recovery potion, saying that clash must have drained a lot of force. Use it immediately if needed. Not just that, she also gives him a monitoring device and a distress signal tool. Real lifesaver setup. But in Xu Jing's mind, if things go bad, his running first. Right then, the system updates the data for border zone R278. Before he can process it, a thunderous waterfall sound roars in his ears. The system confirms the entrant only natural humans with biological age under 6,373 days can enter. Xu Jing's eyes widen. This is clearly a top-tier divine relic. Even Xu Ren can't believe something this high-level is sitting in a border zone. After thinking for a moment, Xu Jing speaks up. Has heard of God Allah 5 before. He recalls asking Wu Yuking half a month ago why to prank divine relics are so tightly controlled. With his clearance, he could only see the names of the top 300. Back then, Wu Yuking closed her book and calmly said it's because their existence is completely illogical. She explained that if the world is a perfect blueprint, then divine relics are messy scribbles outside the rules, like a kid ruining the design. Xu Jing was confused. No matter how abnormal, should there still be some logic? Why fear them this much? Wu Yuking asked him back. If a relic could rewind time and let you live again, would you risk everything to get it? That's when he understood. The temptation is insane. She added that some relics can alter or even destroy the world. Just imagine one in the hands of a psychotic criminal, especially someone who fully understands its abilities. Xu Jing listened closely, completely drawn in. Wu Yuking turned to him gently and said if he's truly curious, she could share a secret. Now recalling that memory, Xu Jing explains that God 1005 is called Mirror World. It reflects reality and generates endless possibilities. Under its light, parallel worlds are born non-stop. Su Ren immediately asks what happens if someone enters those parallel worlds. Xu Jing says you get trapped inside. To return, you must find the flaw in that world and prove it's fake. Fail, and you're stuck forever. Hearing that, Xu Ren wants to cancel the mission and request reassessment. But Xu Jing stops her. No need. He says he'll finish this fast, and he remembers Wu Yuking saying that border zone seemed to be waiting for him. Right now, Xu Jing has only one thought. What is that sentence meant only for him she mentioned? The more he thinks, the more excited he gets. If he really secures a top-tier relic, that's a massive win. The only problem is, he still has no clue what's happening inside. With that, Xu Jing steps into a completely different space. The moment the scenery shifts, he's stunned. This is the real border zone. From outside, it looked like dead wasteland. Inside, it's basically a fairyland, way beyond expectations. Even with the breathtaking view, Xu Jing reminds himself, mission first, survival first. The first thing he does is set up a checkpoint at his current location. Then he prepares to move on, thinking if he knew it was this beautiful, he wouldn't have been so tense earlier. Suddenly, a fierce roar echoes behind him. He turns instantly. The sight in the distance freezes him in place. One word pops into his mind: native. The native girl in front of him speaks a strange language he can't understand at all. He's full of question marks. What is she even saying? But clearly she's in danger. He quickly calculates. Save her and maybe he can get more intel about this place. No hesitation. Xu Jing charges straight at the monster attacking her. The moment the creature falls, the system goes crazy. Divinity 12 for killing a being with special divine traits. This place is a walking treasure vault. The deeper he explores, the more surprises he finds. He definitely needs to question this girl later. After dealing with the monster, he approaches carefully and asks if she's hurt. Seeing her wary eyes, he realizes she probably doesn't understand his language. So he sits down, takes out an item, and gestures for her to wear it on her wrist. Xu Jing puts the other bracelet on his own wrist. He asks if she understands him now. The girl gasps. The thing on her wrist is talking. Magic. Xu Jing silently praises Xu Ren's device. He explains it's just a small tool from his homeland. As long as both wear it, they can communicate. He introduces himself. The girl hesitates, then softly says her name is Renia. Renia's face still shows fear. She's clearly nervous around strangers. Xu Jing points at the monster's corpse and asks what it was. And are there more nearby? Renia says it's an obeast, a type of daruka that attacks by vomiting corrosive fluids. They gather densely in the southern forest. The word densely makes Xu Jing's eyes light up. One gave 12 divinity. A whole forest? Jackpot. For a second he even thinks, what if he kills 1,000,000? Instant ascension. Meanwhile, Renia points ahead. The forest isn't far. On the way, Xu Jing asks about daruka. Renia explains people here can tame them as pets for labor, hunting, even combat. He immediately wonders, can they evolve? He keeps probing. Aside from obeasts, where a stronger daruka? Renia thinks, then says the strongest creatures are dragons. Xu Jing is stunned. Dragons can be tamed too. Renia quickly denies it. Dragons are sacred daruka. According to legend, all dragons are descendants of the divine dragon, and only the dragon goddess queen has the right to command them. As they walk, Xu Jing memorizes terms like queen and divine dragon. This civilization is totally different from the real world. He's about to ask about divine relics when Renia suddenly says they've arrived, but she immediately warns him not to enter. A divine dragon lives there, and it has a terrible temper. She says someone once tried stealing a dragon egg, got struck by lightning and burned to charcoal. Just hearing that hurts. Suddenly, a loud explosion echoes ahead. The ground trembles violently. Xu Jing looks over and sighs. Seems like the dragon's lair just got blown up. In the distance, a massive dragon roars and soars across the sky. Renia screams in shock. Those are dragon hunters from her nation. Xu Jing narrows his eyes. They're hunting that dragon. Renia grabs his sleeve tightly. They want to kill the divine dragon to extract blood gold and forge weapons. Xu Jing asks how powerful that weapon is. She explains blood gold is condensed lightning power inside dragon blood. One drop can forge a weapon sharp enough to split boulders in half. In Xu Jing's eyes, these hunters are insane. Killing the divine dragon could destroy this world, and they still dare. He quickly realizes something. If this world collapses, has trapped too. So whether he likes it or not, he has to stop them. For now though, the hunters still can't easily take down the dragon. They are not only strong but highly coordinated. If Xu Jing charges in head-on, he might get crushed. So he decides to approach quietly and sabotage them at the right moment. While moving, he asks Renia if dragon hunters have any weaknesses. She says their weapons need time to recharge. After each shot, they must wait before firing again. Hearing that, Xu Jing smiles. Yeah, he's got a plan. In the sky, the dragon lets out an enraged roar that shakes the air. One hunter shouts commands, telling position 3 to suppress the left wing and prepare to fire. Another laughs excitedly. If they take it down this time, they're getting rich. The hunter has no idea what's coming. Still laughing, saying when they get back, he wants the strongest liquor ready. Just as the spear is about to pierce down, a burst of golden light explodes in front of everyone. The hunters shout excitedly. Its defense is broken. Tighten the chains! The dragon roars in agony. Furious, helpless. The pressure alone is insane. One hunter yells that the divine fall state is about to trigger. Everyone stays sharp. He orders them to prepare the blood gold extraction devices immediately. Hiding behind a rock, Xu Jing asks what divine fall is. Renia says before a dragon dies, its spiritual power erupts one last time. And at that moment, the blood gold produced is at peak quality. Hearing that, the natives rush forward with red eyes. Everyone wants the first drop. But suddenly, the dragon surges back up. Its eyes burn red with killing intent. A hunter's face changes. Retreat. This isn't divine fall, it's divine wrath. The natives freeze mid-charge. One even shouts angrily, why didn't you say that earlier? Xu Jing's eyes flash, his chance just arrived. He casually picks up a stone and flicks it forward. Perfect aim, it smashes into a hunter, making him scream in pain. A girl in the group falls to the ground, trembling and yelling for everyone to stay back. A violent wave of golden light sweeps across the area. Anyone trying to approach the divine dragon gets blasted away in agony. A hunter roars in rage. Who just attacked? Show yourself. He scans the area furiously. You dare hurt my teammate. This one slap. Xu Jing feels the terrifying pressure from it.
Yeah.
This guy hits hard. The hunter charges forward with a savage expression, weapon raised. Xu Jing instantly calculates. At least 3 times stronger than him. Head-on. Dead within 10 moves. But he stays calm waiting. The hunter lifts his weapon high, shouting that hell takes Xu Jing's life. Xu Jing smirks, the timing is perfect. A sudden burst of flame shoots in from nowhere and slams into the hunter. The guy doesn't even understand what happened before dizziness hits. Seconds later, he collapses in a weakened state. Xu Jing finally exhales, crisis avoided. He approaches the divine dragon and tries to reassure it. It's over. You're safe. The dragon is still ferocious. The moment he gets close, it tries to attack. Xu Jing can only laugh helplessly. He says straight up, I'm here to save you, not hurt you. From afar, Renia explains the divine dragon is still in divine wrath. It hasn't regained full reason yet. They need to wait. Xu Jing yells back. He can't just dodge forever. Renia hesitates, then says unless he can subdue the dragon. Xu Jing is speechless. Subdue this monster. Seriously? But after observing, he notices the lightning around the dragon has weakened. The fight drained it heavily. With that thought, Xu Jing decides to gamble. Get closer, find a weakness. His eyes turn red, shadow flame power fully unleashed. The divine dragon opens its mouth ready to blast fire at him. But in that split second, Xu Jing spits a strange substance onto its body. Then he latches tightly onto the dragon, thrilled. Finally stuck. He grins internally. Let's see how you shake me off now. The system pops up, divine material detected. Beginning divinity extraction. Divinity points surge upward in waves. Xu Jing is shaking with excitement. He didn't expect that simply clinging to the divine dragon lets him absorb divinity. And the speed is insane. The dragon senses something wrong and shoots straight into the sky. Xu Jing clings on for dear life, cursing as the wind nearly blows him away. On the ground, Rainier watches with awe. An outsider is riding the divine dragon. Suddenly, a clear female voice echoes out, amused. The people of this border zone are impressive. Even high-level creatures like dragons get hunted. Xu Jing turns and sees a beautiful girl appear. She smiles and says he can call her the Mirror Dweller. Rainier looks confused, asking about that strange name. The girl stared at Xu Jing and asked if he was from outside the border zone. Rainier nodded right away and even said his name sounded weird. Xu Jing. The man in the mirror smiled softly, like he'd finally found the one he was waiting for. Sometime, still clinging to the dragon god, Xu Jing felt his arms about to snap. This thing was insanely strong. Keep this up and it's getting thrown off for sure. He quickly thought of making something like a rein to lock himself in place. Problem is he had no clue if it would even hold. Decision made, Xu Jing activated his supernatural ability. He condensed his power into a special rope. After checking it, he figured the durability was decent, just needed a bit more control. Right then, the system popped up about the power of twins. It confirmed he had successfully controlled the dragon god and met the activation condition. Xu Jing almost laughed. He actually did it. What shocked him more was the skill's effect. His balance felt rock solid now, like standing on flat ground. Even his sense of direction spiked. At this rate, getting lost might be impossible. Xu Jing muttered in excitement. This skill definitely had more hidden potential. But the dragon god suddenly roared in rage, swearing it would throw him down to his death. Hearing a voice, Xu Jing looked around in confusion. Was someone else here? The dragon gritted its teeth, furious that a mere human dared ride it. Xu Jing finally realized, yeah, the dragon just talked. The dragon god went berserk, dying to smash him into pieces. Xu Jing just scoffed. Stubborn beast, guess I'd have to break it completely today. He quickly calculated. They were over 5,000 meters up. If he fell, the dragon god might survive. He definitely wouldn't. Leaving its back now would save his life, but that'd mean the dragon wins. So he waited. Only the perfect timing would do. The dragon dove faster and faster. The ground rushed closer every second. The moment arrived, Xu Jing moved. He kicked off the dragon god's back, and the massive beast slammed headfirst into the earth. A huge cloud of dust exploded upward. When it cleared, the dragon god's giant body lay still below. The system spammed notifications. During the taming process, riding went from level 0 straight to level 2. Shadow Flame completed a qualitative evolution and dragon pressure resistance surged. Xu Jing was hyped. Massive profit. But the dragon god still seemed half-dazed. It lowered its head before Xu Jing and apologized deeply, asking its master for forgiveness. Hearing the word master, Xu Jing froze. Wait, did he actually tame a dragon god? Thinking back, it was pure bonus. If he hadn't unleashed Shadow Flame at full power earlier, this dragon would never have submitted. Just then, a voice from afar shouted excitedly, calling out, "Lord Dragon God!"